button. It is the appointed time.
Oh, let me pause
There
what
it
I'm
is.
doing.
Hello, welcome to Fail Portrayal? Question mark? Hold on, I think my masterful soundtrack's a little loud. Let me dial that back a little. Hi, hello, Internet, if you are watching. We are live, but I don't know if you're watching yet. If you're watching this back later, also hello. Okay, Axe made it in on the deadline. All right, cool. I was a little concerned.
I kept trying to tell everyone, like, I needed them to, like, start an hour sooner, but no.
Yeah, they don't. Those people who congregate in my VC and my Discord don't pay any attention to my streaming schedule. That's why they are the loser club for losers.
Badgered him about it. So.
No, I know. Also,
Well,
we literally just went live, Axe.
I know.
It was fine. I was gonna be a little sassy, but you did manage to hit it right on time. You made the 5-minute warning.
It's why I said I have to leave immediately, so it's like I couldn't miss it because I said I'd be here.
But
so
for now we're running a little lean. So to explain, because we did just get started, you may recall last week we said we were going to do UA, Ultimate Athlete, which won our first ever Fail Portrayal Patreon poll. However, and I don't have the live effects to make that echoey, but you know you can do it that way. Unfortunately, some stuff has happened with scheduling. Basically both of my biggest UA stands in the team, the Brain Trust, are gone tonight. Vesper has to do some extra work stuff, and I assume Dallas is busy dissecting brains or something.
He has finals like I do, but unlike him,
well,
I don't have scheduled exam times. I just have project to finish.
Also, he's in, I think he's in his, PhD or master's. He's in high-level brain doctor shit. So
yeah.
They're both busy, and so it's not right to do the UA without either of them. Maybe with one of them, but without both, meh, not doing it.
I have the Yu-Gi-Oh! Open, so I can at least be helpful, I guess.
Yeah, so this will be a little interesting. Now, Marth said he would be here, but he is not. I might ping him.
He'll probably show
up
up around 9, maybe a bit later.
Robin exists, but also apparently bonked his leg skateboarding. Take that.
I didn't know he skateboarded. I guess he.
I think that's what we all thought.
Why would you skateboard like where it's all snowy?
I don't know. Maybe it's not snowy right now. I don't know. I'm not. Listen, I'm not gonna. I don't know your life, but
I'll ask him another time.
Yeah.
He's around.
He said he would be available, but also warned us he might just pass out because he fell off a skateboard and banged his leg. So, perfectly understandable.
Supposedly, we have to save like ceramic plates. Just those are hard to get somewhat.
Well, he said dishes, so he might have also been talking about food. I don't know. If it was literal dishes, definitely. If it was food, also definitely. And no word on if Loth will get here. I kind of hope Loth shows up, though it is a little early for him intermittently. Yeah, he's definitely. If he's not here, he's asleep. He's been talking about his.
He forgot to turn his alarms on, so he might have forgotten to do that too again.
Rotating. But if he does show up, I would love his input because he has actually attempted to play some Lswarm decks in our progression series. And that's what we're going to do to sub in for UA is Lswarm.
Yeah.
I will say...
I'll admit that I've looked at and in the place of Cosmo, the weird card that Dallas complained about me having in my side deck, I almost put one of the evil swarms that you contribute to do a thing in there. Then I'm like, wait a second, this one just can't be blown up.
Yes, evil swarms are. So we have previously covered Steel Swarm, basically the first phase of this.
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh, hey, there we go. We got a couple extra people. All right.
Yeah. I have to ask you about why you skateboard, but another time.
Yeah, probably not during the start of the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just explaining how you might not be here, Robin, because you banged your leg.
Yeah.
But you are here. Cool. All right, that's good. I was just starting our intro about Evil Swarm. So the swarm that is evil. First of all, technically, Evil Swarm, as far as the Yu-Gi-Oh wiki and certain people in the nature of the Yu-Gi-Oh fandom, not real. It's not a real thing. And I don't know why they say it that way. I guess it's because the Japanese is a little more ambiguous, but basically we talked about this when we did Steel Swarm, which was kind of the first phase of this, which was dark big bungus effects with some slight control leaning, I think.
Yeah,
Like they had some spell traps to
sounds
make
about
themselves like give themselves protection or make stuff happen. But mostly you just got little minions to tribute for big bunguses. Evil Swarm goes in the complete further direction. It is mostly level 4s because it has become a level 4 Dark Xyz deck. Though one of their Xyz monsters is light, but that's one of the later ones. That's when we get out of the actual plot part.
I think that one's like a weird remnant of the virus for something.
Yeah, we'll cover. It's Exciton Knight, by the way. We'll cover Exciton Knight when we get there, because, like I said, he's after the whole. Much like Constellar, Evil Swarm was dumped all at once in Hidden Arsenal 7. So, in Japanese, Steel Swarm is inverse, or inverse, whichever one you want to take that pronunciation. The Lswarm archetype, which is referred to by other cards, is just Verz. V-E-R-Z. Or Z, if you're Australian, like Loth.
Mhm.
But
Interesting.
for some reason in the TCG, I guess because it sounds cooler and doesn't break the naming convention, they actually named the monsters Evil Swarm and kept Lswarm, because it works with Steel Swarm, the way they refer to the archetype. So sources like the wiki and stuff. Oh, that reminds me, I just realized nobody has commented in chat yet, but I realized I hadn't turned on chat. So hold on a second, let me rotate that around. Sorry, I was in a little bit of a blitz to get this done because I was a little late eating food, and also this one took a little bit. You'll see why when we get to it. All right, there you go. Chat window is activated. Hello, chat. There we go. Now I see you. You're popping up. I got you unmuted. Okay. Or unhidden, I should say. So, yeah, I guess this is just the only way they could figure out how to make it work because they called it Steel Swarm in English.
Mm-hmm.
They had to keep some kind of consonant there. But, yeah, so cards and effect will refer to Lswarm, but the easiest way to think of it is the monsters are specifically Evil Swarm. The spell traps are all called Infestation anyway, so...
Yeah.
Honestly, my general take of it, when I've skimmed through some of the cards and looked at it, it's first one starts as the Dark Sentai, the Dark Sentai general team, and now they're back as now the Dark, basically Black Lantern or Darkest Night, like zombie bug infestation.
Yes, so the actual Steel Swarm, or Lswarm, we should say, virus is visible in a couple of card arts. It's also probably represented by the card Steel Swarm Origin, which we may or may not cover again because it says Steel Swarm, but it's definitely an Evil Swarm support card. But that's a late Link era support, so... and the reason why it's a Evil Swarm support card is because Steel Swarms don't need Link support. They're just a fucking tribute engine, and they're bad. But... as Zach said, the way Evil Swarm works is it is basically not necessarily zombified because they're not actually zombies. It's not like a zombie world type effect. But I think the Black Lantern type comparison, Darkest Night stuff is very appropriate. But it is all of them become dark. Most of them have their stats adjusted by 50, and they keep their original typing as the monsters they used to be.
Should we show the originals of them?
Yes, actually, that is part of why I was in a rush, because I actually made sure to jot down what their original forms were. So,
okay.
Yes, I will be doing a back-and-forth comparison where appropriate. Now, when we begin, if you guys don't mind jumping to the art...
I know the Wikipedia also has a list of all.
Yeah, it has a list of the comparisons. Unfortunately, some of those are just assumptions, or we need best-case scenarios. Case in point, our first boy, Evil Swarm Azathoth, with 2 Z's. So, the fandom wiki tries to say this is Worm Zero.
Or at least the W meteorite.
Yeah, that doesn't work because it's not that, because its stats don't line up, and in general, the art's not really that similar. I will pull up Worm Zero to remind you.
Yeah, would be a 700, 1900, or I guess.
Yeah, I
like
don't even know. I'd
800,
have to do like
800.
chat. If you want to, you can bust out our Worms fail portrayal and check out. But
I mean, those
could
are
also just be
definitely
all
a bunch
worms.
of worms.
Yeah, it is just it is literally just a bunch of worms glummed together.
Actually, it could just be, I guess, the corp. It might be the corpses of like all the remaining like high royalty, or like the ones that were on the.
I mean,
moon.
it's a bunch of worms. You can list the
like it's
the
X
list.
and Y. Like I can see like Prince and King.
Yes, there's
Or-
a
or
whole
Victory,
list on the. Okay, there's literally a list on the wiki. I'm trying to say you don't have to guess. It's known. Oh, and also we talked about the virus coming out. Sorry, there's a lot of lore. It came out of the mirror and some stuff, and it started infecting people. So it corrupts
maybe-
things.
Do we have a
if I
good like?
rem-
Do we have a good card or a good picture that we can use for that? Just it coming from the mirror at all?
If
That
I-
might actually be
which
a
one was
decent
it?
starting point.
There is a card like that when Noelia accidentally the apocalypse.
Yeah,
We've showed it before.
It was a Gishki card, right?
I don't know if it was actually a Digishi card.
Well, like
Or-
wasn't it a Gishki spell? One of their ritual spells, I think.
I don't think it was
No.
Calling Darkness.
Oh,
Yeah, these cards slow for chat.
It's
Right.
crazy how all the worms together is exactly 1950 defense.
yeah. if I
Yeah,
remember
it is kinda
correctly,
funny.
Let's see.
But
It's very accurate for the
They
arc.
came from the corpses of the Steel Swarm.
yeah, the
Apparently
maybe the
psychic
Steel Swarms are not
entity,
even the,
whatever
Oh,
it
it's-
is.
It's 1950.
Yeah.
There's no 1900 defense worm.
yeah. So as
50,000.
you can see, there's some wiggle room involved. It's not obviously Worm Zero's original defense is 0, so it's not literally that, as it were.
And there is one worm that has 2000 defense, and that's Shield Worm.
I don't think this really looks like that. It's a ball of worms. Like it's
Yeah.
it's
So
just
this
oops
is
all worms.
Just this is.
And I mean,
It's just a pile of
art-wise,
corpses.
it works. All of the worms, we have looked at them before, were gross. So
Yeah.
here they are. They're a big, gross ball of worms.
Is the thing about, I guess, what Mark brought up earlier about like the Lswarm virus is very much that when they beat this Lswarm, it turns out those were all actually possessed corpses too.
Yeah, actually, I was going to suggest that, but we've had the conversation going in a couple different directions. Yes, I'm wondering if that was meant to interpret that the Steel Swarm weren't their true form all along, and it was always this weird psychic dark cloud virus. But who knows?
Darn psychic dark cloud viruses
Yeah.
messing up things.
Well, we'll see. This becomes a recurring theme. Welcome to our. I call this in the description our first greatest hits episode because you're going to see a lot of old cards coming back.
Yeah.
All terminal sets like doing that. Honestly, they like to.
But
Well,
yeah,
is
that's
that
a recurring
dark
theme.
corruption theme? It's
Yeah,
crazy.
it happens a lot. Some of it happens to monsters who are technically part of this archetype later.
So the weirdest thing about it is, this is a dumb thing, but this reminds me of what we talked about where we thought Lswarm had a thing where it was crushed, but it turns out it's not, which is
Yeah, no, it
interesting.
just turns out that Twilight Sworn is like their edgy
the
form.
super mode.
Like it's the dark power to defeat even more dark power. At least according to Master Duel lore. Yay. And we'll do that Fail Portrayal Lightstorm sometime. Anyway, any thoughts about Azathoth visually?
No.
That sure is a ball.
Yes.
If it showed up in a game, I'd be terrified and disgusted. As a
It's
Yeah.
all the right ways of being disgusting and horrifying.
Yeah, I think the
It's like-
name choice of Azathoth, even though it has an extra Z for some reason, and then they dropped the H when they actually made Outer Entity Azathoth. That's I don't know. I don't get it.
This guy could be a Souls boss and he would have all the worst hitboxes.
I was more thinking he'd also be a Resident Evil final boss.
There's a lot of final bosses this guy's look like. Unfortunately, his stat line is not final boss worthy. This is a
Or-
Doc,
Yeah.
level 4 reptile, flip, because it's all the worms. Duh, it's a flip monster. Has 750
Yeah.
attack, 1950 defense. Flip. Target one special summon monster on the field, shuffle that target into the deck. Now,
It's not terrible.
This card hard loses to normal summon Alexandra Dragon.
yeah, I mean, It's interesting, whereas, because this was early Xyz era, obviously, this was Hidden Arsenal 7. It's not the best effect because it's slow. You have to, like, set it and then play Book of Tayo, I guess, if you're being really try-hard or something. Actually, I don't know.
Or I guess you set it turn 1, I guess?
Yeah, I guess I think that's the point, is you set it turn 1, you hope your opponent doesn't flatten it, and you get to bounce a monster back. I mean, worst comes to worst, if they... Your assumption is if your opponent Xyz summons a guy or synchros a guy bigger than this, you get to be like, ha-ha, bounce him back. And certainly, shuffle, spin back a special summon monster is pretty rough. I don't know if the stat line is quite good enough for that. If it was like 2050, that would probably be pretty good, because there's not, I think, any normal summon that beats that. But yeah, it's
not for a while.
That would have made it actually
Or not that
I
big.
mean,
Like you said,
not
wall.
unless you're willing to hugely nag yourself with.
yes. If in the year 2013 you're playing skill drained beats with Jerai Gumo and Goblet Attack Force, yes, indeed, you are
Rank
correct.
4 skill drain. Go into
I
Midnight
mean,
Pearl. No, it's like
you
you
could
play a
probably do that.
Oh wait, no, you skill drain during an attack force. You
You
attack with a
probably
bow
be
and then do
using
a card that lets
Peaceful
you
Dragon in the year
Xyz during battle
2017.
phase.
There's a few things. Okay, let's keep rolling.
Or just like normal summoning that whole archetype of dudes that are big assholes.
Which ones? There's a bunch of those.
Well,
the
we
fourth.
should say technically, because this is relevant to us right now, technically True Draco's normal summon by tributing spells and traps.
Yeah.
Like acid.
I was talking
They're-
about skill
they just-
drain.
They're normal summoned by cheating.
Yes, by hacks.
Total hacks.
It's like playing Magic to get
Judge.
sacrifice lands to summon things. Like, ugh.
All right, so this is an interesting callback to literally last week. This is Evil Swarm Caster. Naturally, this is it's not literally the corrupted version, but because they're twins, it's kind of like that.
It's the resurrected brother after I think what was her name again? Malalia. Blanking on her.
Well, it's the one that got corrupted of
name. No, but
Pollux.
like the name of the Gishi leader.
Well, she was in
Noelia.
Gishi's Cyclone at the
Noelia.
time.
After Noelia killed Castor, I think.
No, he just ate a wave of corruption.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. She blasted. Okay, she just
You
converted.
got virused. Now this is interesting. What I want to point out here is, I think they did this design incorrectly. Because they have their weird half on. Well, actually, no. I guess
The colored half
guess
isn't.
Pollux's weird half is supposed to be the gold spiky bit, but to me the weird half is the half that's all white. I guess they have symmetrical hit bits. Like you can see
Yeah,
both.
it's
You
like
can't
if
see
you
both
take
of
off
this.
one guy's half, and everyone you have Super Destroy Man.
Yeah, I will say
You
I
know
think
what I
the
mean.
posing is a little weird. Like having taken a second look at this, I realized, oh no, yeah, they do line up. It's just hard to tell because the way Pollux is posed, he's covering so much of his body with like his sword and arms, and I didn't think they matched up it well. But yeah, okay, they're opposites. Neat.
I took it quickly, but I identified it as like one was like the right side, one's the left side. They're
Yeah,
like his left side is completely fucked up. but-
Technically, I should display them. Oh, goddamn, transparent bullshit.
He's got the classic kneecap spike.
The thing
which
about
I
it, though is
think-
like Castor's also kind of the one you play in all the decks.
Well, let's,
I don't even remember. Unfortunately, Dallas isn't here to fact check me on what decks played whom.
No, I mean you play him because he's.
I
want
mean,
me to say it?
he is double summon on a monster, so he's not terrible. But you would just play a different deck.
I mean, if you're
Yeah.
playing, I mean it's like
I was gonna say
he's a Concealer.
we haven't
but
really
not.
talked about the art yet, though.
Well, we talked about the symmetry, but yeah,
Yeah.
like comparing him to his brother Pollux, I will say that Castor looks a lot like a Steel Swarm. By which I mean he has weird spikes for no reason.
I mean, it's all the parts that got corrupted. So
Yeah. He's kind of also got some weird lines. I don't think there's anything, like, wrong. Well, I mean, there's things that are wrong with him. He has way too many blades and spikes, but that at least fits the established aesthetic.
Yeah.
again, it's the dark anime virus. You get extra. You get edgy brand blades and spikes
Well, but
attached.
but all the Steel Swarm guys look like this anyway. And we laughed at them. Oh, how we laughed at them.
Yeah.
Because Robin talked about their knee spikes, I would also like to point out that Caster has ab spikes.
He also has like a weird like back of his like blade, like two like almost like blades on the end of his leg.
Yeah, he's got blades and spikes. It's excessive, but it's not really that offensive at this stage.
And
all
you can't
that, and
really
he still
see it
holds a
that
sword.
well.
Yeah.
I mean, his left side, his right side is completely clear of him. It's fine.
Oh, so the
he's
spike
only
defends
half
his
correct.
left side, and the sword protects his right side. There we go.
Kind of like how.
So,
his brother fights.
stat line wise, Evil Swarm Caster is a level 4 Dark Warrior. He has 1750 attack and 500 defense. So he has 50 more attack and 50 less defense than Pollux. Pretty typical. During the turn, this card was normal summoned. You can normal summon one Lswarm monster in addition to your normal summon set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. So he is, in fact, literally Pollux, but for Lswarms, which, because they're both Xyz archetypes, is good.
Yeah, you want to play both of them.
Yeah, Azathoth, as we talked about, didn't really, like, go anywhere or do anything that you can't do other ways. I mean, you can just play, shit like Compulse. That doesn't shuffle back to deck, but,
If you're slapping Xyz monsters, then it essentially does the same thing.
And presumably that would be what you would be trying to get rid of, right? If you're setting an Azathoth is like, okay, my opponent's probably going to make a big play. They're going to special summon an Xyz or a Synchro, and you can just deal with those other ways.
Yeah.
Okay, this one I think is a funny art. If we have nothing further to say about Caster, before I make him go away forever.
Nah.
Not much.
Okay. Goodbye,
I think he
Caster.
might come up later though.
This is Evil Swarm Copelia.
So I didn't know this card existed until today.
That's because it's a bad card.
Also, is that a Gen X controller in there?
It's
Yes,
also
so...
Gen X locomotive.
Yeah, the body is, and that's the one I'm going to pull up for the reference art. Locomotion are Gen X, so let me just
And then
grab
one
that
of the
really quick to
controller units
compare. Yeah, and it's
controller.
got controller and spare on top to drive. Because they are also dead now and can be used. Oh, right. This was this guy. I forgot. I've forgotten the days
Not
of
most
yore.
Gen X.
Look at his 4 squinty, angry eyes. Somehow he looks angrier in this form than as a demon locomotive.
I can't tell.
I mean, either way, you suplex it and get rid of it, right?
No.
Face. Oh, hold on. That's not quite in focus.
Who knows?
Face.
I can't remember Sabin's moves. It's like what do I call it again? The name of.
Anyway, let's not talk about Final Fantasy references.
Yeah.
Evil Swarm Copelia. It's a demon train.
Yes.
I don't like the weird growths. Also, I guess even if you're a machine, you count as dead. But I guess it's a magic virus or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess these guys are alive enough to count as psychic. Who knows?
I mean, they're like the natural elementals, like guardians of the planet. So, I guess.
I do recall that Gen X just kind of appeared, so yeah, I guess it makes sense. They're part of
they
nature.
existed before everyone else. It's just they didn't matter until they got weaponized.
But yeah, it's a demon train. I don't even know.
Yep.
It's on branding, I guess. But yeah.
I like the weird look
Yeah.
of how like it's like one side is like decrepit and one side is okay.
Yeah, that's an interesting bit of asymmetry, right? Though it does have a
Yeah.
little bit on the bottom where it goes there.
Yeah,
I think
the
it's
growth.
interesting that they go for like, because obviously, locomotion over here is like, bipedal and mobile, though he clearly also looks like a transformer. But Copelia is rolling on a track. You can even see the track down here. So that's kind of an interesting decision for how they decided to do this art. But not a lot to say. It's a train that is evil, an evil train.
It's not even a cool train. It's okay.
No, it's not a really cool train. It's not certainly not a rank 10 train with a giant fucking gun.
Those are awesome because they win you games.
Yes.
Sorry.
Okay. So, effect-wise and stats and stuff, this is a dark level 6 machine. Probably why number one reason why it's not good. It is 2450 attack and 2050 defense.
Actually,
And,
the
yes,
It's
the
also
effect
not
text
good
is
to
also
do
why it
first
sucks.
line of text.
cannot be special summoned.
Yep.
When this card leaves the field because of your opponent's card, by battle or card effect, you can target one face-up monster you controls, take control of that target until your next end phase. So you can't special this guy, and he only gets to change of heart if your opponent removes him. So if you, like, synced or
And you
exceeded
have
him
to
away
have
or
a
anything.
monster when you remove them. Otherwise, if you just go, okay, Raigeki, and then you have nothing.
Yeah.
Or I guess if you like suicide something. Honestly, even if it was special summonable, I don't think it's that.
No,
great.
it's just this card is already like a
Mediocre.
very big minus, and the fact that it can't be special summoned at all, I think it just shows how much Konami was afraid of like Snatch Seal, and I believe Goyo would have been banned by this time because this was the early Xyz era.
Yeah. No,
Shit like
Goyo's
that.
been done for a while.
So like this is just Konami is afraid of those monster sealing effects, not realizing that if you put this many stipulations on it, it doesn't matter if your opponent has all the gas in the world. There's no way you're gonna pull this off. It's not worth it. And that is why, Axe, you have never seen this guy before today. Also, another thing, like I said, you'll notice he's a level 6. It just doesn't work in the archetype.
I think it's got a cool design. I don't think it's a great.
Hey, he punches monarchs at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but would you play it against Monarchs?
He probably would have seen play in Pandera if he didn't have that first line, but
Yeah.
he does, so
Rip him.
yeah.
Out for a fun one.
Yeah, so we're going to do an interesting blast from the past here. This is Lswarm Golem.
Look at what you've done to my boy.
Yeah.
So this is Catastor. It's probably pretty easy to tell.
That's the Courier, but I guess it is Catastrophe. I can't tell.
No, it's Catastor
Yeah, it's-
based on its stats and effect.
Yeah, no, it's 100% catastrophe.
It's
Yeah,
also
and
a
it's
rock.
fine.
so I will... Here's the natural artwork.
It's also a rock instead of a machine, but I guess it's because it's actually dead, so it's just.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe Catastor was supposed to be canonically destroyed, so this is his bits. You can also tell from the design it's very much Catastor.
Yeah.
So I like what they've done with this. The battle damage, the fact that the like replaced bits look like grasshopper limbs almost, like they're very, very insectile.
Like they're
Yeah.
flesh on top of metal.
Yeah, it certainly is interesting. It's
It
a little bit like
looks-
Azathoth. It's like it's a little grotesque, but in all the right ways for what this.
You also can
represents.
see that the eye is like not on, like the eyes don't power there.
Yeah, for comparison, that's.
Yeah, I was
up
gonna
and
say
that's-
it looks almost like it's a creature wearing it as a shell.
And it may be. It is, as Axe pointed out, it is technically a rock, not a machine now.
Mhm.
Whereas Capellia was still a machine.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is, I would say, this is a good art, so there's not a lot to say about it.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
Catastrophe
yeah.
was already a really good art, and this is just
Catastrophe, but
but
spooky.
different.
Again, it's
Mhm.
just a creepy thing you wouldn't want to encounter in like
Yeah.
a game. Where it
Now,
would
I will
probably
throw,
threaten
it's
you.
not universal, but this is interesting that both Capellia and Golem are main deck monsters. These are regular effect monsters. That's not always true. Some of the Lswarm version of extra deck monsters stay in the extra deck, but some of them are also main deck monsters. So it's a little hit or miss.
Well,
But,
again, I think it's partially because, in this case, wearing it as a shell.
Possibly. So, Lswarm Golem is a dark level 5 rock. It has 2150 attack and 1250 defense. Once per turn, you can target a level 5 or higher non-dark monster on the field. Destroy that target. This guy says he can be special summoned, so that's a good effect.
Mm-hmm.
You've got technically got extra normal summons in this archetype. We just talked about Caster.
So I guess you could put Caster to this.
Mhm.
I guess you
Yeah,
have a token
so-
on the board.
There's one minor problem with him though,
What?
and it doesn't immediately come up, but eventually you start running into the Shadal, the dolls, and they're all dark,
Yeah.
and you can't really do much with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, none of them are 5 or
Catastrophe
higher.
is not an extra deck option to go into, but as a main deck monster you have to intentionally play into is
Yeah.
less good.
Yeah, I don't want to say this monster is crazy good in this archetype, but it's an interesting tool, and
And that's I think something you'll see in a lot of the Lswarms is that they don't need to be played within as an archetype. You can actually I think
yeah,
this
Dallas
is-
isn't here, but I believe he could tell us. Several of
There
these monsters
are-
were just playing Oops Dark decks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in Oops Dark, or even just as a, hey, I need just a monster to fill out.
Like honestly,
And,
if you were going to play Worms, you could just play Evil Swarm as a thought because it's a flip reptile. It's dark, so it
Yeah.
doesn't meet some of their support requirements. But you might consider it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll see that with some of their other guys.
And,
Yeah.
2 of the extra deck monsters have seen a lot of play over the years.
Yes, because
so-
some of them are semi-generic. Or fully generic, but require extra mats. The one thing I do want to bring up, I feel remiss to not mention it if while Dallas isn't here. So, Evil Swarms were kind of popular, from my understanding, as a third part of a triangle in the great meta that was Spellbooks versus Dragon Rulers.
Uh-huh.
Now, most people with hindsight agree that Evil Swarm was not a good deck per se in those eras, but it did happen to have some decent counterplay against those two archetypes, and it does lean very heavily on control. And you can kind of see that with Golem, because a lot of the Spellbook big boys would be light, though some of them are also dark. And especially Dragon Rulers would all be level 5 and higher, level 7,
Yeah.
and not dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, Evil Swarm had a fairly decent matchup against Spellbook, based off the fact of a couple of their monsters and exactly Nightmare, because Spellbooks have to control Spellcaster. It's
Yeah.
not a Spellcaster if it's not face up. Terrible matchup against Dragon Rules, though.
Yeah, and from what I hear, I think when they were doing their last episode of History and just I think got to this, I
Yeah.
don't think they did Evil Swarm, but I think
They
Joseph
did
mentioned
Stellar.
that.
Yeah, MBT and Simo discussed the fact that they're about to hit Dragon Ruler format and talked about
Yeah.
how.
But I think
There were options
MBT.
in
I think
Pokemon.
MBT mentioned specifically that Evil Swarm of the 3 was the cheapest.
I presume so because they're all in Hidden Arsenal 7, which is an all foil set, so
Yeah.
they would not necessarily be in high demand. This is Evil Swarm Heliotrope, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
This is just a big beat.
Yeah. Helio Joe.
He is an evil Gem Knight.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I checked the text earlier, but this guy has interesting flavor text where it's like. I
Well,
think
he's a
it's
normal
like,
monster.
This is probably just Garnet.
Yeah,
It's
that's
actually
probably
Emerald.
right. Oh.
Well, I mean, he's not actually Emerald because he doesn't look like anything like Emerald. He just happens to be green.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
And I don't
All
think
the
the
bits have
stacks
been
match up
replaced,
for
but-
anything.
1956-50.
yeah, so that doesn't quite match Garnet. That matches Garnet's attack, but not defense. So
Yeah.
it may just be an amalgamation. He is green, and the word heliotrope is another word for bloodstone. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so because it's like
which,
so what
by
I
the way,
gathered, the flavor text is about the amalgam of basically the dead souls that fill the vessel.
Yeah.
by the
because,
way, the reason why Axe says I gathered from the flavor text is because in all languages, Evil Swarm Heliotrope is fairly unique. It has mirrored flavor text.
Actually, let me just go mirror it. I can go right back.
yeah, it's all backwards.
Yeah, and in every localization, it is written that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, art-wise, it's an evil Gem Knight. He's got a sword. It looks like a heliotrope.
Yeah.
Eliminate, eradicate, exterminate. These are the thoughts of a lingering steel swarm souls yearning for a body so they may make their dream a reality.
Interesting. I mean, I think that makes sense because all the Gem Knights, like, fuse their soul gems and shit. So maybe some dead steel swarms just picked up a dead Gem Knight armor or whatever.
Supposedly there were like more than just the 12, 10. So.
Yeah, there's probably foot soldiers and everything. But yeah, so this, design-wise, it's an evil Gem Knight. Cool. It certainly fits because I think this is the only normal monster in Evil Swarm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would make sense.
He is a dark rock with 1950 attack and 650 defense, as we talked about. He has the mirrored flavor text. Now, I believe this was the... Let me double-check the trivia, but I believe this was the first 1950 attack monster.
Possibly?
Yes, this is the first normal summonable monster to have 1950 attack. And I believe there were 2K beaters at this time, because Gene Warped Werewolf existed, but still, 1950, pretty good.
I remember the thing of like, besides
It's
those
normal,
two,
so you can
a lot of
unexpected die
monsters
this.
that have 2000 attack or so always have a cost. So
Yeah. So it's all right. I don't think there's a lot to say. It's a vanilla. It's a dark rock. It's level 4, so it works with the Xyz stuff. It's got a decent stat line.
And its art isn't offensive, and it's actually decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just a dude.
No, this isn't a dude, Robin. This is a rock. If he was a dude, it would be a warrior.
If he was a warrior, you could row to him, though. Then he'd be real good.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. Since he's a rock, there's rock support.
I mean, he's a normal, so what you actually do is
Rock
you unexpected
dude.
die him.
Yeah.
You play unexpected die, and you just make him appear. Hello. All right. This is Evil Swarm. Hold on, I gotta pull up my thing. Make sure this is centered. None of my chat. Yes. Hraesvelg, which is the corrupted form of Daigusto
Goldos.
Falcos.
Or Falcos, yeah, sorry. My poor bird.
So
At
once
least,
again,
at
welcome
least-
to the...
I feel like also these card sometimes exist just to tell you who died in the process, who died during the whole conflict.
Maybe. Anyway. Barg.
Yeah.
So Mount got sacrificed to protect the rider.
I believe this bird is bald right about here. It's a
Probably
little,
Wyatt was wearing the armor.
a little weird.
No, I think
Gross.
that's like a weird centipede. Ugh.
Well, no, I mean it's just that's its flesh, because like it's bird feathers here, and then it's a plucked bird.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they do
Yeah.
some interesting things with the color shift, like purple feathers, but the white, head.
Mhm. Yeah, I actually...
Color.
maybe it's the same. I was gonna go with one of the others, but yeah, no.
I'm gonna say I feel like this, because it's an evil swarm, the spikes are less dumb, even though they're
yes.
basically the same spikes.
Yeah, but this was like they're meant to be like
They're-
weird mutant
he's
growths.
missing. He's actually lost some of the
Yeah,
spikes.
he's lost a
which
couple of spikes.
If I remember our discussion from this guy, we were saying, hey, you need less spikes.
Yeah. Now he does
He
have a
did add
couple
a
of.
lot of halberd heads to him, though.
Yes, he has a lot of axe blades all of a sudden, but
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
It's like, oh, this
You
bird
win some.
needs axes.
you win some, you lose some.
Again,
so
it's like it
okay.
looks like a fantasy RE monster. So hey,
So this is an interesting one. This is this is level 4, Dark Winged Beast, 1150 attack, 1850 defense. This is a flip monster also. I don't know if they were really going for flip as a sub theme or what, but
Because I think the original Falco, Gusto Falco, was a flip.
I mean it's a synchro, so I doubt it. I don't think you can put him face
Well,
down.
not Falcos,
Falco.
but Falco, the...
Falco is not a flip.
No, you're
wasn't
thinking of
he
Shadal
the-
Falco.
It just said for sent to graveyard by Val.
Or not Falco. Shoot. Hold on. I'm gonna actually pull up the individual bird that this is.
Yeah.
I gotta question the thought of printing Hane in the year 2013.
Oh no, this.
Yeah,
is...
no. This by the way, Robin spoiler. This is just Hane's effect.
Oh.
Target a face-up monster your opponent controls,
Just
bounce it to the hand. So it's less restrictive than Azathoth because it's any monster, but it only goes to hand. So you would use it on extra deck monsters anyway because that puts them back. Especially with 1850 defense, also I would just say, hey, just play Compulse.
Yeah. Where is it?
I think. Well, I mean the one flip.
I mean, you
monster
may be
thing
thinking
it
of,
is Camry.
Oh yeah, no, I'm thinking of Kamui.
Well, I assume you were actually thinking of like not Evil Swarm, Shadal Falco, because that
No,
is a flip
I was
monster,
thinking.
and then it kinda,
I was
like, got
thinking of
cross-pollinated.
Kamui.
Okay, so
I was thinking of Kamui, and I'm like, oh, it's Kamui's bird. Kamui's bird flips and summons Kamui. No, it's the other way around. Kamui flips and summons his bird.
So I don't know if they meant there to be some synergy there. Hello, can you load? Thank you. It's not loading. That's blurry still. All right, I'll see if it comes out okay. I'll see if the internet corrects this error.
I'm
Nope,
looking at
that's
the
tiny.
next card. I've never seen this card before in my life.
You're killing me, Smalls. Wikipedia. I really need you to load this card out of Evil Swarm Ketos. It's not that hard. It's just really
Oh,
chugging for some
Ketos.
reason. I think one of you guys could probably go to this exact URL
No.
and probably cross-post this image
okay,
to
yeah.
There we go.
It
As
was
I
chugging for
mocked
me
it,
too.
it resolved. Okay.
It
thank
was
you.
being weird for me because I booted it open too, and it was like weirdly missing too.
I guess the server's really chugging. Maybe people at home are playing along. Anyway, this is Evil Swarm Ketos.
Yeah.
It's surprisingly, except for I think the staff being cracked, weird bits on his chest. He looks like an extra evil Gishki.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is a Gishki representative within the Evil Swarm.
Yeah.
The
Ugh.
wiki says Shadow. I
Yeah,
think the
that's
staff
Yeah,
kind
no,
of
that-
lines
that's
up,
right.
and the colors.
That's pretty shadow.
Though I will notice that apparently being Lswarmed, he gets an extra eye. He's got 6 eyes now.
Yeah.
He's got a lot more than 6 eyes. Let me tell you.
Well, it's true. He also I think we already talked about I think there was a ritual with Shadow where he got kind of enswolled, but I don't know what kind of steroids they give you with the Lswarm gym, but damn, he hitting him.
Yeah.
Look, that's flesh. That's his fucking bicep right there, guys.
That's a weird clothing design.
I
Also,
think-
double tail. We just out here with all the mutations.
Yeah, this is what happens when you roll on the mutation table too many times. You get too many perils of the warp. That's a 1%er.
But no,
Yeah, entirely new staff too.
more
so it's all made a
mutation
weird
rolls.
infestation.
Slap snake. Yeah. Is there? I mean, he's just Shadow but swole. I don't know if there's a lot to say about
It's
that.
just- so we have a
New
Psyker
Shadow
on the
did
right.
skip leg day.
So we
True,
have a
his legs are
Psyker on the
skinny.
right, and we have a Chaos Psyker on the left.
Yes.
Basically. Yeah, I don't think other than yes, Robin is correct. He did skip leg day. His legs are I think they're the same size.
I
Never
think they're
skipped leg day.
smaller.
I think
His
that's
legs
a
are beefy in that OG art.
His
It's true,
nails
they're
are
very
also different
defined.
colors.
Maybe it's a perspective. No, that's
It's got
I mean,
green
a
in
lot
it.
of things are slightly different colors.
yeah. I don't know. It's a little hard to tell.
Okay, so hold on, let me re-loop the music. Continue, Master Duel. Give me a pleasant tune. This is a Dark Aqua, which I do not believe is a very popular typing. Level 4.
How many Dark Arrows exist, actually?
1750?
I think it'll
1050.
be more popular soon.
And this may be one of the ones you were thinking of, by the way, David. You can tribute this card, then the
Yes.
target one spell trap card your opponent controls, destroy it.
Yes, this is one of the ones that almost went in instead of Cosmo Wicked Witch.
Yeah.
Now that
So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
can you can sack this card to pop a spell trap. Doesn't have to be set, doesn't have to be face up or anything. This is certainly valuable. I mean, I think while you can get extra normal summons, I think this is a little slow.
This would be a crazy goat card, though. Especially back in the era of priority.
Yeah, because it is an ignition effect.
Back in the era, right?
I mean, I will say the people have played stupider cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! MBT has a lot of videos about this. This is very similar to, what is it? Shock Troops of the Ice Barrier, who contribute themselves to blow up a water monster.
Yeah.
Which you can use to get rid of Necros plus Djinns. But, yeah, it's not the greatest, but I could certainly see it as a side deck card in Lswarm or even other decks. It is a level 4 Aqua.
And if you can cheat it out, you can attribute it to depending.
Yeah, and I imagine that if there were a more trap heavy meta, he would be much better. He screams to me that he is a more meta dependent card.
Yeah, that's what I would think the side deck. All right.
Yeah.
Away with you, Katos. So this is Evil Swarm Mandragora. Now,
Okay.
The wiki tries to tell me that this is Cosmo Beat because it has the same eyes. That's not how plants work. Shut up.
Yeah.
I think there's some other thing. Let's go dig through this.
Why did this feel like the scene took in some prayer plant too?
Well, I
But
mean,
also
they're trying to
evil.
make an evil plant,
Yeah, but this does look evil cute.
Yeah. It's got an
Is the
interesting structure.
lovable mascot character.
Yeah. I mean, it's clearly some kind of evil Naturia. I don't know how you could. Yeah, you can't not do that, right? With Naturia. I guess what they're going for is that while the stats are very different, it also has whatchamacallit's Cosmo Beat's effect. But we'll get into that in a second. I will say it's interesting. They used the name Mandragora, which is an actual real life plant that is poisonous. It's in the Nightshade family, but that Japanese RPGs like to use for some kind of plant that tries to beat you up a lot. It's also called Mandrago in Japanese, so it could also be like a Mandrake, which is a different thing.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to be a plant man. None of those have anything to do with Venus flytraps, but those are very iconic, and they certainly fit the Evil Swarm aesthetic to have a spiky plant on its head.
Yeah. So I think they just went with a thematically appropriate visually plant.
Yeah.
And then gave it a different name that is also more.
And like I
kind of-
said, this could be a translation error. The Romaji characters is Mandorago, so that could be like Mandragora, or could be like a mispronunciation of Mandrake. It's a little ambiguous.
So,
They didn't use all their
I ended
syllables.
up trying to look through all of the I pretty looked through all the Naturia, and I just don't see them look directly similar to it. So I think it's just an evolution of one of them.
Yeah, it's just got Naturia vibes. The wiki is correct. This has the same effect as Cosmo Beat. So Evil Swarm Mandragora, dark,
It
level
could be
4
that it grew up.
plant. And it's got 1550 attack, 1450 defense. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card, which is important.
It's a crazy card. Not once per turn anywhere on that.
Nope.
Nope.
But you
If
play
your
three
opponent
of.
has 4 monsters, you can summon 3 Mandragora in one go.
Yeah. Which would probably be something you would want to do in this archetype. And
Yeah,
I mean, if you really want to, you can play
Yeah.
cards that can do that, because you can, like,
You
I
actually
mean, obviously
want
this is the Synchro era, so
three
you
of-
got to be careful, but you could play Ojama Trio, give your opponent tokens.
You do want 3 of them because
Does
that's
it
what gets you the good
specify
one.
monsters or cards?
Monsters, yeah. If
monsters.
your opponent controls more
monsters.
monsters than you do, you special summon from your hand. But still, that's a pretty good effect in an Xyz archetype, because as Robin
Yeah.
pointed out, not hopped, not even, a sopped effect. It's just, you just do this. You do it.
Mhm.
And if your opponent controls more monsters. And even then, remember, 1 is greater than 0, so if you're going second and your opponent put a guy down, free body.
Yep.
And then you still can normal. And then if you normal summon caster, you can normal summon again. So, a pretty important card.
Mm-hmm.
Like, obviously on its
I would
own, it's
think
not
so.
explosive, but as just a free level 4 body in a rank 4 Xyz archetype, good. Thumbs up. Good plant.
Or even potentially if you wanted to go into one of your 1 tributes.
Yeah, I guess if you really wanted to, if you needed the golem in your hand, you could set it up. I also suspect that this card probably, speaking of cards that have like generic uses, I would suspect that Mandragora possibly made its way as a free special summon, much like Cosmo Beat, into certain like plant, Xyz, Synchro, etc. decks, because it's just a dark plant.
Yeah.
It goes in plant.deck because it's a free special.
It's a free special. It's also level 4. That's
It's a pretty good level.
pretty good.
Like, its stats on its own don't really make it, like, work in a vacuum. You know, if you special summon this guy and your opponent, like, flips no Xyz area or dimensional barrier, call Xyz, you know, you're probably fucked, but other than that, it's fine. Okay, so...
Evil Swarm, Mandragora, and Mystic Plasma Zone goes in, though.
That is true. Okay, this
It's
is
better Mystic Fighter beats.
Evil Swarm O-Lantern.
I actually like the design.
This is one of the other ones I was looking at.
It's the one
Also, I
looked at
think
when
you missed one a couple back.
No, I've
Depends
got
on
them in
the list we're
alphabetical
looking
order.
at.
Extra
We
at the
did
bottom.
not hit correctly on.
That come out later? That's a later
Oh,
card?
Okay. My
We usually do
My
this in
apologies.
waves.
So
okay.
when I was describing it, like the general feel as like insectoid Darkest Night zombies, this one kind of sells it as that, honestly.
Yeah, this definitely, this is level cannon, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah. It sells the theme pretty well, where it's like insectoid armor, weird axe blades curved to different things, insectoid bits,
Yeah,
a weird eye and spikes.
I mean,
Wings.
cannon already had a weird eye.
Mhm.
They took
Yeah,
away all
I
his
mean, his
branding. He has a Konami orb now, though in his gut, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I think
interesting. We talked about how the virus itself is supposed to be like some kind of psychic entity, but in this case, the conversion of Cannon into an Evil Swarm, into Evil Swarm O-Lantern, very much like resembles the Steel Swarm aesthetic. Like, he looks like he put on Steel Swarm armor.
Or it regenerated over his body, because I really feel like it shrouded him.
Well, I mean, the armor corresponds to all the branding for Laval that was on him before that we got rid of. Other than the centerpiece where they put the Steel Swarm crest.
Yeah.
Also, I think we've been seeing that one Konami orb.
Yeah.
It looks kind of gross how like it looked like it was like his body warped around it.
Yeah, it's kind of sunk in there in a weird way.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys are gross. I will say, O-Lantern, not that gross, but a little gross.
It's unsettling more than.
I will say, while I understand what they're going for, I do think I will say that this is a little goofy. Admittedly, part of that's because Cannon's already a goofy guy.
Yeah.
So, like, the bits of him that are definitely Laval Cannon are kind of like, okay, he's still a weird rock man with an arm gun. Becoming a bug doesn't really fix that, but at least I get what they're going for, right? I know what they're doing. All right, so stat-wise, O-Lantern is a Dark Level 4 Pyro, one of the first Dark Pyro monsters in existence. The other first one was also an Evil Swarm. Who could have guessed? 1650 attack, 1250 defense. You can tribute this card, target a face-up monster your opponent controls, destroy that target. And remember how Robin joked about printing Hane? This is just the worse exiled force, because you can't Rhoda him, and you cannot rekindling him.
And
Yeah.
he also has to target face-up cards. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, just really, really bad exiled force.
Now, admittedly, I mean, he's a named target. There are some cards that interact with Lswarm monsters. He is level 4, but for his own tribute effect, not really the greatest.
And he's got okay-ish stats.
Yeah, the 1650 is definitely a little off, but that's Lava Cannon's fault.
Yeah.
Loses to Sonic Duck. So, that's the benchmark.
The greatest dunking.
Where would you play Duck?
Is that the benchmark in this era?
No, that's far below the benchmark.
No, it's Seymour Wolf.
I mean, I
actually.
think in this archetype, the benchmark is Evilswarm Heliotrope, who has no effect in 1950.
Yeah.
Well, you would expect a vanilla monster to be strong for its level.
It can kill Arcfiend Soldier.
I mean, I guess it depends on the monster. So let us pull up our next one. This is our next pyro, by the way. Evilswarm Obliviwisp. This fire baby is cross.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm a real is it wrong with me that it's like I'm taking the Evilswarm face as like arm, so it's like doing the fucking
Yeah, it does
Batman
look
cape
like
wing.
it's doing some arm thing. It's a little funny.
Like it's doing the Batman cape thing, but no, it's the flame consumed by the Evilswarm.
Yeah, it's
Fire, buddy,
it's
Lswarm.
either he's either like doing like a cape thing, or he's like arms over his head like Tusken Raider yelling.
Or
But-
I think it's just the face consumed.
Yeah, it's just this is Neo Flameville origin, but now with an angry face and a second face in his face. He's got two faces.
Yeah.
Two face. Double face.
Unfortunately, I like the color scheme they do for this, and they've obviously got the branding with the crest, but otherwise, it's fire.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot they can really do with that.
I think the main thing they did here is they reversed the curve of his eyes, which is a classic anime technique. One of them's Tsurime, I can't remember the other one, but like it's a visual cue depending on which way the character's eyes are oriented. So his are kind of on Origin are kind of like down and open, and then they're flipped the other way, so he's got the corners up, so they're meh. He's making a meh face.
Yeah.
Another
Oh,
interesting
what
thing to note, I think we've seen this a couple of times now, but with Obliviwisp especially, Origin was a pretty important tuna for Flameville. Obviously, Evil Swarms don't have any tunas. They completely abandoned Synchro, and even some of them used to be Synchro monsters and are now, main deck monsters or Xyz monsters to Xyz. So it's interesting. Also, this has a very interesting stat line. Oh, this guy's name in Japanese is funny. It's just Verzowisp. Obliviwisp is an interesting pun, but I think that worked better than Japanese. So this is a level 4 Dark Pyro. Duh. It has 450 attack and 2050 defense.
Actually
Quite a
not
big
bad.
ups off Flamville's
Yeah.
200. If this card battles a monster after damage calc, negate the effect of that monster, including in the graveyard. So this is an interesting one. I think this is arguably a better version of those flip effect monsters. They're nasty surprises. 2050 doesn't actually lose to most normal summons in this day and age when this card came out. And that lingering effect could be useful. Negate it not only on the field, but in the graveyard.
Yeah, no, this is the other one I was looking at for if I could add it in, but I only had 2 copies, and I'm like, I want something I can get
Yeah, this
3
card
of.
has very weird. It doesn't have the problem-solving card checks because it never states when its effect stops being negated.
Yeah.
Like, assumedly, you'd get your effect back if you shuffled it into hand or deck, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
would
assume it
have to-
operates without any... Let me actually check. Is there a
I
ruling? There is
would
rulings.
assume you would have to do something that would cause you to resummon them all.
They're
But
negated
in a
even after
way-
they're sent from there, and they're... the OCG rulings have nothing on that. So yeah, I assume it works like most cards where it will... Like, if you banish a card or shuffle it back to deck or whatever, it forgets that it was negated. But as far as like the OCG rulings, yeah, it stays negated in graveyard, so any effects it would
wait.
activate in graveyard are
It's
negated.
not good, actually.
What?
It's ruled that it has to be the one that does the attack. Can't be a target.
Oh, oops.
If this card battles an effect monster, no, that
No, I don't see that in the OCG rulings.
where are you looking, Axe?
I'm sure this
I-
card hasn't got a reprint because it looks like a Ruling's Nightmare with the how it
Maybe
is
I've read
right
it
now.
wrong.
Oh yeah, no,
It's not a target.
certainly.
No,
And
I was reading it wrong.
I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that this was an option for Evil Swarm decks, but probably not like the main
Yeah.
reason you play Evil Swarm.
No, it does lend to
You
their
possibly
controls.
played one of it.
Yeah, it lends to their controls. It does have a decent defense if you're stuck with it. Worst comes to worst, if you really need a negate, you can just smash it into somebody. Its low attack makes that pretty easy.
Yeah.
But it runs to a problem that Robin has pointed out earlier. Because it is on this guy and it has to, interact with damage calc, your opponent can just not attack it and, play removal. Play Smashing
Yeah.
Ground. Play Compulse. Just get rid of it before they have to deal with it.
Good old smashing ground.
I do believe Smashing was still popular in this time because
I
monsters
mean,
still
it's highest
Uh,
defense, which means it always gets rid of the blocker.
And yeah, also, if the monster that it negated, it would probably be back to normal if it got booked or something.
Yeah.
Like it's not. It's prone to being
There are much better negation type effects in this archetype.
That's what I'm trying.
Now,
to
admittedly,
say.
this is just, a level 4 normal summonable boy, so they're not trying to make it the end-all be-all, but
Yeah.
it certainly is on theme. This is Evil Swarm Salamandra. I think we may have brought this up before when we were actually talking about how Evil Swarm is just other archetypes recycled.
Talk about Jirac.
We have talked about Jurek, obviously.
I'm saying when we talked about Jiracs, yeah.
And
Oh,
specifically,
it has the crap behind.
this is... here we go, copy. This is Jurek Titno, not Jurek Titan.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
I mean,
All
he's
of his
got
horns
some...
are now facing a different direction.
yeah, he's
Looks
got some
way
orbs sunk in him
cooler.
now.
No,
He looks
Like
much
product
better on
movement.
the fact that he's no longer a direct color scheme.
Yeah, his color scheme got balanced. He's light pale green. Now he is no longer made of lava. He is made of ultraviolet blacklight goop.
probably
I'm sure
super,
that's
probably
good
super
Probably
disease ridden.
virus thing, yeah. But no, this is a fairly decent redraw of a guy.
Yeah.
I look at all of his horns are like a different direction.
Yeah, his head horns are curved now, which is a Evil Swarm trait, or technically an Lswarm trait, I think. But yeah, again, the art good. Not much to say about that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
not much to
Yeah,
say.
I can't complain about much of the Evil Swarm art. The effects, on the other hand, they exist.
Yeah. So, by the way, I'm also gonna assume that this guy saw some fringe play because he's been reprinted.
He
he's a level
seems
4
like a
dinosaur.
funny card for certain decks.
Yeah.
One of them was a the infamous Dino Smashers Fury deck. So
Yeah, I was
I'm-
gonna
I'm
say
gonna
this
explain
deck
it.
would-
He's a level 4 dino.
yes, he's a
That
level 4
does-
dinosaur with
but that has Spanish
1850
Bite
attack and 950 defense. Up to twice per turn, you can banish one monster from your graveyard. This card gains 300 attack until the end of your opponent's next turn.
I feel like that's where
This,
you could use
there's
the
a real
scissors.
there's a real theme here. I'm realizing since Robin brought it up. This is just Bazoo the Soul Eater.
Yeah.
Like a lot of these
Yeah.
Evil Swarm guys just have Goat era monster effects, but on slightly different bodies.
He's hilariously good with Giant Rex.
Yeah.
Just comedically on brand with that card exactly.
What does Giant Rex do again?
When he's banished, he special summons himself to the field and gets extra attack for every banished dinosaur monster, I believe.
Okay, so that
Yeah,
actually-
so this is
actually
a
the
normal
trigger for
summon
that.
who can
Yeah.
fuel your giant Rex plays, probably why he was in Dino Smasher's Fury. So, again,
Yeah.
evil swarms are compatible with outside archetypes. They're not inherently xenophobic. Like, for instance, this just says banish one monster from your graveyard. So, you can make that work in certain decks. And, I mean, it's up to twice per turn. That means you can get 600 out of this. That's pretty beefy. I believe that takes you pretty close to... No, nowhere near. No, close. Titno's 3K. Okay. Still,
Yeah,
makes you
it's
pretty
gonna-
big for a level 4.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna s-
he's also decent in probably like Thunder Dragon or something. I don't know what other decks want to banish
I don't think he would be.
outside of their own effects, but you know.
You wouldn't
He's
run him
here.
because he's a dino. He's not a thunder, so you don't really use him for engine because you only search thunders usually.
I'm sure that there's generic banish stuff. That
Yeah,
he-
You run
Yeah.
the chaos dragons.
he does things.
And he is a dark, so he would work in certain chaos variants as well.
yeah.
Normal summon that can get himself up to 2400. Over 2400, you
Yeah,
know, it's not bad.
2450. That's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Again,
Um,
that's
Arguably
the
a
monarch
better
pushing
removal
stat
tool
line.
for a lot of annoying monsters than some of the like guys we've already seen. Just normal summon
Mhm.
Salamandra and make him big.
Yeah, no.
You can't beat Utopia, but you can beat a lot of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so next
Yeah,
on
it's
my...
just a really good normal.
I wonder if
This
there's
isn't-
any spell traps that like buff Lswarm monster attack or defense.
Attack points? I don't think so. They do have basically their own in-archetype version of Forbidden Lance. They have a quick play spell card, which is your Lswarms aren't affected by spell or trap effects this turn.
Mm-hmm.
Which,
Oh, yeah.
considering
I feel
this is a very strong control deck, pretty baller.
I feel like you need that considering how they probably don't have inherent.
No, a lot of them,
Protection.
as you may have noticed, don't have Protect. So
Yeah,
now
I
we're
think
going to pull up a card, which you all also have probably seen places.
The best card, best normal monster in the archetype.
And
If you're doing the guy I'm thinking of now.
Yeah.
it begins with a T.
Yeah, no, it's this
Thunder.
card's just really good.
Evil Swarm
Star play
T-Bird.
all over the place.
Thunderbird.
This card was so annoying in our progression format, it almost got banned.
I've just
Yeah.
noticed how gross it looks. Holy shit! It has like a really tiny face.
This is also funny because this is the second time we have kind of a not truly niche, as we discussed. People were legitimately playing this in Dragon Ruler format.
Mhm.
No, this card very good.
But
This
he
card
is the evil
is-
counterpart of Apex Avian, another card from an archetype that doesn't really do a lot, but is played.
It's honestly, maybe I was like, oh wow, it's actually a really gross
A-
beetle bird.
Apex Avian has seen a lot of play recently, but that's outside of his archetype.
Also, all the ribbons
Yeah.
became weird, like bramble things, and it's like
Yeah, he got
kind
You
of
can
horny.
say it. They're tentacles.
Yeah, they have
Yes.
spikes, which isn't very normal, but they are a little more tentacly.
I more take it as like
Though they
I more took it as
also
plant
might
vibes,
be weird tentacles on Apex Avian. Notice how they end in like they look like thunderbolts until they get to the end, and then they end in gross
Yeah.
tails.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a mutated version of that, but like
Yeah.
just.
But yeah, no.
the
Thunderbird
beetle-
is armory.
Also, I've noticed like all of the orbs are now in the holes he actually already had in his chest.
Yeah. In the
Kinda
pattern.
Kind of grossly inverted.
I mean, it's an Lswarm monster. We've seen them all. They're very gross.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, other than that, he's Apex Avian, but evil.
I don't get his like weird face thing.
What do you mean?
Like, what is the thing just? Are they meant to be like ball joints just below like the crest?
No, it's like a beak.
Yeah, so it depends on what you're talking about, Axe. So you mean below this crest? That's just an armor plate. I think it's like bowed out slightly because that's a joint. That's like where his shoulder
I know,
joints
it
meet. So
just-
it's kind of
it
like his
just
bird
looks really
pecs.
weird because it's like, and I guess it's like what's the effect of how tiny its head is, but then when you look at Apex Avian, its head is also kind of tiny.
Well, that is true of birds. Birds have smaller, guys, because you didn't know, to fly, birds have a shitload of upper body strength.
Yeah.
So, the fact that Thunderbird has giant pecs makes sense.
And all that. All the bones.
And
Very
I
accurate to
I also
nature.
want to throw out there a cool little tidbit. He is sitting on the Temple of the Mist Valley, which is also Sophia, goddess of fuck you's head.
Ooh. Ah.
So he hates religion. I approve.
So, Evil Swarm Thunderbird is a dark level 4 Sunda with 1650 attack, 1k50 defense. During either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated, except during the damage step, you can banish this card you control. During the next standby phase, return this card banished by this effect to the field, and if you do, it gains 300 attack. You can only use this effect of Evil Swarm Thunderbird once per turn. So this guy can dodge removal and get stronger. Now, he doesn't keep getting stronger. This is something we even had to learn for ourselves. Because he gets banished, his attack points are reset, but he still keeps coming back as a 1950, which is, much like
Pretty good.
Heliotrope, pretty solid stat line.
It makes it a better version of
anybody
Heliotrope,
who
honestly.
plays in the modern era only, this dude is the first iteration of Time Thief Redoer.
Yeah. This is
a
very much the
asshole
reverse
who
effect.
dodges effects, makes you waste stuff, and then just comes back and keeps beating your face.
Yeah,
It also
it's
makes me think
something,
of,
it's
like,
something
Wind
that
Up
you have
Rabbit
to
as
have
well.
two things in order to get rid of, and you need to be able to chain them as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you would
this
need you would
card will
basically
always
need like
trade.
a quick play removal and a normal removal. You would need to or an effect negation you could chain. You would need to Raigeki, chain Thunderbird. Okay, I flip breakthrough skill. Fuck you.
Yeah, no.
Also, the thing of depending, it's not the great if it's the only card defending your board.
No, you
Depending.
can poke through, but as people who have tried to play Time Thief Redoer would know, that you still do that sometimes. You take the L so you can keep your
the
guy.
monster.
And remember, you
Yeah.
are playing a Xyz deck, so the fact that this guy can dodge removal while you're waiting for more Xyz monsters, you can get a very valuable
Weirdly
effect.
enough, I just noticed Thunderbird's level 4. You could make Redoer with this.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah,
That would be
no,
funny.
Probably want to make Ophion still.
Just a really good card that trades favorably in advantaged
Yeah,
or disadvantaged. Really, whenever.
and 1950 is nothing to sneeze at.
No,
Yeah,
like with
16.
Heliotrope, that's a decent stat line.
1650,
Yeah,
not
I
quite
mean,
as good, but you can
Oh,
still
jeez.
you can
1950,
still
yeah.
beat up what are typically going to be monsters that are there for their effect.
Yeah, I mean,
David, I think
so...
you're ignoring that it's usually going to be a 1950 most of the time. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you have to activate an effect first, so you can...
Yeah.
You can't do it in the damage step, so... There may be times when you have to normal summon this on your turn and maybe do something with it. You can still get over smaller
Yeah.
monsters, especially as Yu-Gi-Oh gets further and further, attack points conditionally matter less and less because there are plenty of monsters who have actionable effects you may want to get rid of.
Right.
I mean, if you're insane, you could be playing Mystic Plasma Zone. Then he becomes real big.
I mean, I don't
He can beat over
think
Monarchs.
Evil Swarms have or Lswarm is at period have a field spell, so
Is that
Yeah.
it is technically a blank slot. Anyway, this is Evil Swarm Zahak. This is our last of our first wave of
I've never
main deck
seen this
monsters, which
before.
is most of them.
Alright, this is Dragoon.
Yeah.
I don't know any Dragoondies with 3 heads, but here he is.
But then
Possibly
Evil Swarms gives more heads, more tails, whatever.
I mean, they do mutate. So the wiki says it's Ackless,
I
and
can
I
see
think
being
it
like
does
three
kind
Octuses
of
merged
have
together.
a similar...
It is Atlas. That is the card. It's not really Atlas. It's just Dragoondi, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's got... I think it's because he's got reddish wings that are basically the same, pattern of, red-black. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff going on here. I mean, he has the long armor neck, I guess is what they're going for. It's not a 1-to-1, and I think it would probably be more likely it would be like whatever the evolved form of Atlas was. I don't remember which Dragoondi that was.
It's a 3/4/1 more like.
Yeah, but he's a guy. He's a dragon. He's got extra heads. That's a thing that these guys do sometimes.
The wings are a perfect match, and that's about it.
Anyway, he's got his his belly button orb and his crest branded on.
Yep.
And
He
in
is
the
on
neck,
brand.
and on most of his main head.
Yeah, he's also got some inset orbs and some ab spikes.
I haven't had much to say about most of the designs because they're pretty alright. This guy looks terrible. This guy looks fucking awful. I don't know what they were doing with him.
I think it just looks gross.
I mean, the heads are very cartoonish, which is not what Lswarm has been doing. Like, they have the teeth, but they have the weird giant eye gaps. I don't think those are his actual eyes, because most of these guys have regular eyes.
I guess sometimes if you make, like, full, like, psychic zombie versions of Dragoon armor.
Yeah, it's got like the exposed gums on all of them, which just make him look like he's smiling all the time, which is not on brand.
I also can't tell if his heads are
I think it's
supposed
a
to be
sneer.
three-dimensional or not. Like,
And
they look flat.
His feet are just like they're just like if someone tried to draw chicken feet off of memory, as opposed to
looks like
being
they're,
a
like,
dragoon or
part rock.
anything
Actually,
threatening.
no, you know what? I think his feet are in the same positioning that.
I mean, yeah,
Ackles
Ackles has the
is
same
in,
shape of feet, but it's weird.
and it's the same pose.
Yeah, but they just look fat. They don't look intimidating. It's just
Also,
not a
that-
very
Also,
scary monster.
where is that tail coming from?
The base of the body, somewhere. You're right. It seems a little detached, but yeah, it's all over the place. Now, Dragoonies, we did discuss this in the Dragoony episode. Dragoonies are very long, but
Yeah, I can tell where the tail is coming from. It's coming from the back. You can see the purple
it starts
back there.
here.
Like it
But it, like, loops
just
around.
looks like it's more forward than it.
There's
should
definitely
be.
some blocking and perspective problems with Zahak. I think they wanted to make sure that you saw he has 3 heads.
Yeah.
Okay, so Evil Swarm Zahak. Very appropriate name, by the way. That's a Middle Eastern monster with dragon with 3 heads. This is a dark dragon, level 4, with 1850 attack, 850 defense. If this face-up card you control is destroyed by your opponent's card, battle or card effect, and sent to the graveyard, target one special summon level 5 or higher monster on the field. Destroy that target. So, again, this is the level 5 or higher and special summoned hate. I'm sure this had niche play in certain versions of Evil Swarm, and it is destroyed by battle or card effect. But,
Interestingly, if it's set, it's flip faced up before it's destroyed by battle, so that is there.
Yeah.
And additionally, it doesn't have to be your opponent's monster, which is funny. I don't think
Yeah.
it's particularly useful, but it's funny.
no, I mean, I will
Honestly-
say, compared to some... Go ahead, X.
I feel like one thing they could have designed for certain designs of this is like made it be like level 5 or higher, or rank 5 or lower. slash
Yeah,
rank
but
5
they're
or
not...
lower.
This archetype's
They
not
did
meant
both
to...
sides of the coin.
But this archetype's not meant to do that. It's meant to beat up synchro monsters and be an Xyz deck.
Yeah, it's not an anti-Xyz deck.
It is an Xyz deck.
It's the-
Which obviously does limit its potential, but is still part of the system. It is meant to target higher level monsters because that's kind of what they're going for in the lore, but
and it falls behind even more in Lake Area. But
yeah. Yeah, like I said, I think at the time it could be an interesting tech option. I will say at least his 1850 stat line, while not the best this archetype has to offer, is better than some of the other monsters in it. So if you need a body, certainly he works. It's just not the greatest effect.
does pretty well against every dragon ruler if they attack you for some reason, or if they blaster when you have a field set up.
Yeah.
It's not. It's
And
not
again,
terrible.
it is destroyed by your opponent's card, battle or card effect. So you can just crash him if you want to eat the life points.
Yeah, it's not even that many life points. He's fairly sizable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the greatest strategy in the world, but sometimes it do work.
Yeah, Zahak's not bad. Card art. I mean, they know how to draw 3 heads. They've been drawing Blue Eyes for years. And that guy has an ultimate version. He's also been drawn for years.
He's been drawn a lot. Okay, we're moving to the extra deck, of which there were quite a few in the first Bachola. This is Lswarm Bahamut.
Right.
on
This.
These are the good cards.
Right. If I remember,
Brionac, right?
these scenes.
Yeah, it's
being,
Brionac.
Yeah. That.
That's actually kind of terrifying in how much it is.
Oh yeah, no, this card, awesome.
Like it's like almost like awe-inspiring and how like, oh fuck, oh no, we don't want to see that.
Why does it feel like a Cyber Dark card?
Well, I mean, it is a corrupted dragon, so that's kind of what Cyberducks are going for.
I love this design.
Yeah, so this is very recognizably Brionac, but he has the extra Lswarm armor plating, and they've kind of redone his head area to be better, but he's got glowing red eyes, he's got an evil ice mirror bolted to him. It's a good look.
Yeah, no, it's.
Oh wait,
It is.
all the Esmers are now Shadow Dice, like his Brionac's original wings.
Don't talk about your mouse, Flax. But you are correct. He does have kind of, maybe not quite cracked, but he definitely has a lot of extra texture on his body ice. Which kind of matches Brionac's wings, which were originally kind of textured, but his original body is smooth, baby. But yeah, once again, good art, not much to say. Thank God Master Duel exists and I can get this outside of... I mean, it's not the worst secret rare in the world, but he's definitely blurrier as a secret rare. Now, unfortunately...
the weird crest on
Oh,
his chest is interesting.
does this have a Master Duel cut-in, or...?
no, it doesn't have a Master Duel cut-in, but Master Duel has all the card art in the files, so I can get clean high-res images.
We can get unfoiled splices.
Oh yeah, this
Okay.
guy. Well, don't think with Connor's type should we do the whole type thing?
I will bring up the thing about this card is also the reason why you'd play like an Lswarm deck.
Well, yeah, so Lswarm Bahamut is a rank 4 Dark Dragon Xyz with 2350 attack, 1350 defense. Now, I believe Marth was alluding to the fact that there's a funny thing I may have just mentioned there. The OG Brionac was a water sea serpent monster. Not a dragon. But now that he is Lswarm Bahamut, he is a dragon, but he's not called Dragon of the Ice Barrier anymore. It's very funny.
More wings.
The Dragon of the Ice Barrier was a sea serpent.
I know, it's just... And then the other ones are dragons. I don't know, it's weird.
Distant Sea and Lord.
The other thing, though, Axe talked about this. This, I would say, is probably the quote-unquote worst Lswarm Xyz, or at least one of the worst ones, because it is straight-up archetype locked. It requires 2 level 4 Lswarm monsters. However, it's got a decent effect. So remember how we talked about how Konami was cautious about those take control of effects? This is honestly not that cautious. I guess they understood that having to play 2 Lswarm monsters would be the heavy enough trade-off. Once per turn, soft once per turn, by the way, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card to target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls. Discard an Lswarm monster, and if you do, take control of that opponent's monster.
So, overall, you're technically going -1 or 2, but at least -1.
Mm-hmm.
It does require face-up. You're still just taking your opponent's monster.
And it could be and I don't.
Yeah. So long as that monster isn't unaffected or non-targetable, slurp. There's no other requirements.
A lot
other
of
than
things
its face-up.
aren't that. There are things that have destruction protection, not targeted.
So this is, and a lot of those monsters that are like protected from battle or something would be face-up. So this is a fairly decent snatch effect. It does require you to, you can only do it probably, depending on other support cards, you can only do this a maximum of twice per Bahamut you summon, but as I pointed out, it is not a hard once per turn, it's a soft once per turn, so if you can get multiple Bahamuts on board, which is not that hard because you just need Caster and another Lswarm.
It was also during the era of Soul Charge being legal, so, I'm just throwing that one out there.
God forbid you could be one of those lunatics on Copium trying to make double summon work.
I mean, they
That
give
is
you
some heavy
Caster.
coat.
You don't need. You don't need double.
Else it wouldn't come out for a few more years. But like I said, Unexpected Die is kind of a funny cope strategy in Lswarm because you can get Heliotrope out. So there's plenty of ways you can actually make quite a few Evil Swarm Bahamuts if you're playing pure Evil Swarm or pure Lswarm, because you can include any level 4 Steel Swarms who happen to be good, which I believe there were a couple who weren't complete butts.
Yeah.
Bahamut, good card. Looks good, is good.
Yeah.
Okay, let me pull up the next man.
Is an archetype that concentrated a lot of its everything in the Xyz.
Yeah, I think I kind of understand why. Like, I think a lot of the main deck monsters are a little lackluster because Konami was like, listen, you're not going to keep this guy here. You're just going to stack him over another guy and make a new guy. It's fine. You don't care. You're just going to play caster and summon a guy so you can get a guy.
But also, a lot of them are level 4, so they just can go into level 4 toolbox.
Well, yeah, no, this was still early in the Xyz era, but late enough that we'd figured out level X toolboxes worked. So yes, this is just an extra deck for rank 4 toolbox. And if you're playing the correct rank 4 monsters, most of these are generic. So this is Evil Swarm Nightmare.
Nightmare. Very, very good card even to this day. If you can run a Nightmare somewhere, you probably could figure it out.
And this is the...
I've never run a pure rank 4 deck, but surprisingly, there's a lot of good cards for it.
Well, I mean, you didn't actually try and take Phantom Knights off the ground, but I believe all Raid Raptors and all Phantom Knights are all dark, so...
Yeah.
But they're more like rank 3s.
Also,
incorrect.
playable
Remember,
Moonlight.
Dark Rebellion is the Phantom Knights guy's special Dragon Man, so
Yeah.
you absolutely can make 4s in that deck. Anyway, this is the evil version of Bogart Knight. This is definitely
I
a
can
different
see it.
artist drew Nightmare.
It almost looks like, you know, the weirdest thing where you can tell something's like one thing's hand drawn and then one thing's a CGI.
Yeah, there's definitely a different quality to kind of the like shading and stuff on
It
Bogart Knight
feels like
versus.
Bogart Knight has like was the hand drawn in the anime, and this is like and like Nightmare Hero is the one that was completely CGI model for his fight.
Now, some of that is because he's really covered in armor, though his abs have been completely replaced with synthetic ab spikes and Konami orbs. Interesting.
It looks like more like a skull design to me. It's got like the skelly teeth and the bone eyes. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, maybe he's got a little ab face. But yeah, like it's Bogart Knight. He's covered in armor, so it's hard to tell because he doesn't have all the muscle shading. He has a similar but different sword that is completely worthless because it is a corkscrew. But if you have a giant bottle of wine, you know.
I wonder if it's meant to be it always is spinning.
I assume it's probably supposed to be a drill, but they didn't draw it that way. It just looks like a giant corkscrew to me.
Also, his weird. It's also like his handguard is even less useful now because it's like more open and it has spikes.
It doesn't look powered, and even if it's supposed to be a drill that's not moving does no damage.
Yeah, it's a weird look, but that's okay because this guy doesn't do any damage anyway. Funnily enough, this monster does not attack.
Yeah, that drill is not for hurting you; it's for flipping you face down defense position.
Yeah,
it's for drilling the ground beneath you, so you fall.
I don't know if there's anything I really want to say about his art. I mean, I like his pose with the fingers like, come at me, bro. So, Evil Swarm Nightmare. Regular Nightmare, no Nightmare. Even though it is Bogart Knight. Double X Saber Bogart Knight, specifically. This is a rank 4 Dark Fiend Xyz with 950 attack and 1950 defense. So not only does it have the 50 switch, but also they flipped its attack and defense from Bogart Knight. It is just 2 Dark level 4s. So any 4 Darks makes this. When your opponent special summons a monsters, except during the damage step, you can attach 1 material from this card. Change that special summoned monsters to face down defense position.
Yeah, no once per turn.
Nope. Now, admittedly, you've only got 2 materials, unless you, shenanigans with like various Xyz cards, which give you extra materials. But still, you can do this twice, and remember, it says monsters with the parentheses. So,
Yeah,
hey,
this
if your
is,
opponent pens for 5, you can just attach 1 and be like, no.
It's like, put those face down.
This is killer against everything except fusions, because everything checks levels, names, stars, whatever.
I
You
kind
can't
of
use your
wish-
extra deck with this.
So
unless
this is
you're
a,
fusion.
I have a weird to bring up about like flip effects, about how I was talking to someone a bit earlier today about them making custom cards, and it's like you should, if you're gonna make a flip effect as a main effect, you should probably make it a thing that if it targets a link monster, it just destroys it.
Well, yeah, this is
that could be a revision. I don't know. Links have a lot of restrictions. They're really strong. It just seems like too much of a rolling nightmare.
But let us move on to the next one. Another one of the important ones. And this is another pure one, so...
Yeah. This one, good thing it's pure.
Yeah, if it wasn't, we'd have a problem. Okay, so here is Lswarm Ophion. You probably heard that name
this
before.
is the reason you run Lswarm.
And, oops. Yeah, and this is the dark version of Gungnir,
Yeah, I was gonna say this
Of the
is
Ice
gonna be
Barrier. who,
Gungnir.
well, much like a couple of other cards we've talked about, is technically several guys. Because
Got the flaming ice.
there's a Necroz as well, but also Gungnir is a Nordic thing, so there's actually a Nordic trap or spell card. Let me recenter these guys. So yeah, it's got the red glow ice effect, which was cool but kind of weird on Gungnir.
I mean, it's HP that has like a fire inside of it.
It does
Yeah,
look like
these,
he's standing on lava.
The Evil Swarm had good taste. They went exclusively after the Ice Barrier extra deck monsters and then left the normals alone.
I mean, it's kind of a
they went to
similar
the
story,
dragons.
right? Because the
Right.
the ice barriers are a dog shit main deck archetype with a cracked extra deck. Evil Storm, I don't think is as bad as ice barriers' infamously
Sure.
bad stun strategy, but we just talked through like 90% of their main deck monsters. They've got 2 more, I think, that we've got.
I mean,
we've got
there-
no,
there-
1 more
there
we've
is
got
a-
to cover. So
There is a
Yeah.
thing of like that all of the ice barriers got frozen over by Trishula.
Oh yeah, just talking about at least lore-wise, this was the 3 Dragons of the Ice Barrier were freed by Noelia during the Evil Swarm and such fight, and they were already taken over.
well, yeah, because I'm pretty sure Dragoonity What's His Nuts exploded them or
Yeah,
something.
the Dragonities killed them all. Yeah.
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 Dragoonity big boyed them. I will say I don't think Ophion is quite as cool as Bahamut. The way they did his eyes and his headpiece, it just looks like goggles to me. I don't know why, but it's kind of putting me off. It looks like he's wearing swim goggles. I know he's
I'm more
not, but
trying-
it can't really. I'm having a hard time getting over it.
I'm more trying to understand his back. because
Yeah,
it
his
looks just a
also
bit
he's
weird.
got a beetle back. That's a little
But
weird.
also like his tail's
Yeah.
off, so it's like I can't. It just the angles are just off enough where it fucks with my understanding of what's
I think
going
the
on.
artist really wanted to, like, the artist probably went through some concept sketches, because this is actually pretty common for Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Check out the OCG's official Twitter. They'll usually throw up concept art. Clearly the artist went through some concept sketches and had some parts of this design they really wanted to show you, so they put him in a weird pose so you could see them. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have anything to say about him visually. Do we wish to speak about why Ophion is cracked?
Yeah. I think we should
Okay.
just jump right in.
This is a dark rank 4 dragon monster that does sync up with Gungnir, who is actually a dragon. 2550 attack, so this can beat up an Utopia, if it mattered, and also beat up Stardust Dragon.
And Dark
has
Magician.
1650 attack, and is also a rank 4, so, you know, I mean, it doesn't beat Gem Knight Pearl, but still. Its requirements are 2 level 4 Lswarm monsters, so it is fully archetype locked, and you'll understand why when I read this effect. While this card has Xyz materials, level 5 or higher monsters cannot be special summoned. Once per turn,
Yep.
you can detach an Xyz material from this card, add 1 Infestation spell trap from your deck to your hand. So when Ophion is on the board, you cannot special. Presumably, this is the effect people were looking for against Dragon Rulers, because, boy howdy, it's hard to overlay into rank 7s if you can't put Dragon Rulers on the board.
And
Yeah,
even against Prophecy, I
yeah.
think it shuts off a couple of their important.
Yeah, a
monsters as
lot of
well.
their big monsters you end on are high level as well.
Yeah, this card reads draw blaster or lose. 'Cause that's what it was.
Yeah, it's a quite a hard lockout. Like I said, one of the infestation spell traps. Let me look up which one it is. I believe
Let's
it
see,
is. Is it Pandemic?
Yeah,
Yes, it's Pandemic. Infestation Pandemic is a quick play spell card that says all face-up Lswarm monsters you currently control are unaffected by other spell trap effects this turn. So you can make this guy detach to search the protection spell. So you have at least one protected with a quick play. And yeah, he's just a fucker. This is why you play Evil Swarm, because it just straight up means you're not special summoning level 5s or higher.
Yep,
Obviously, loses hard to Monarch,
Yeah. No.
and
Wow.
will lose to, or potentially can lose to other rank 4 decks, though, like I said, this guy is bigger than most other rank 4 monsters, so...
yeah.
And,
He's,
very favorable matchup against a lot of things right
Yeah.
now.
Also,
Spellbooks, we
I
already
just-
said Dragon Rulers, the beat up fucking Mermail too. Like
Yeah.
Actually,
he's
so
a one card really good floodgate.
So I was looking at it, and it turns out that I think most of the infestation spells kind of suck. Besides, I think like even their like Icarus attack is just bad.
Yeah,
It's like-
most of them are bad. There are a couple that are okay.
Actually,
Pandemic
I think
is
you-
fairly good.
I want to say the art of NFC Terminus actually.
Yeah, I
kind of
actually have
cool.
that. I have that. It's funny you mentioned that. That's on my list because I think Terminus actually has an interesting card art. We'll pull that up when we're done with. The
I will
extra
say
deck boys right now.
Infection also probably shows what our theory was about how the Steel Swarm were just carriers,
Okay.
but as like they were
So,
already dead.
Yeah, Ophion makes this deck work, and presumably similar to like we talked about how obviously though Konami did basically remake Constellar into Tellar Knight. But presumably the reason why they haven't really supported Constellar is because all the Constellar extra deck monsters are really good. I assume this is why, with the exception of one Link monster to support them later, Evil Swarm don't really have any future support either, is because they have a pretty good extra deck, so if they were current, they would be kind of fucky. Obviously, again, levels don't block Link monsters, but even decks that involve Links do not necessarily automatically end on Link monsters, right? So... it's a big fuck you to a lot of synchro decks and even like higher level Xyz decks because you need to put levels on the board.
It's
And,
kind of where they make.
and
It's why a lot of
fusion
Synchros
decks-
are still like the end board monsters, honestly.
Yeah. Okay. So, but our next one is also a not as I think big deal, but still quite a zinger as you would expect, given you can probably obviously tell which one's this based on the moment I pull up Evil Swarm Ouroboros.
So this one is actually an endgame board monster in just a rank.
You have seen me illegally use this card.
I don't know.
Yeah, this guy, he's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's extra creepy. Heads are like parcelified.
By the way, speaking of drawing 3 dragon heads, this is a 3-headed dragon, and it's based off another 3-headed dragon, and it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's Trish. It's Trish.
The dragon
Yeah.
that needs little introduction.
Now-
he did
like-
no disservice on his art.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think they did something very good here. So notice the horns. They're kind of like asymmetrical on the shoulder heads, and then all around the main head on the center one. That's pretty cool. They remade like the edges of Trish's wings into the Steel Swarm horns. They did a lot of extra detail here that's very good. The mirror is embedded in the tail now.
Yeah, he very clearly wanted to show off that tail, and for good reason.
Yeah.
It will actually impale
We
you.
just talk about this. Just some of the, at least the coloration sort of reminds me of Light and Darkness Strange, just without the half and half bit.
Yeah, it's got that good chiaroscuro,
So-
light and dark.
So, to quickly answer Filthy Casual, no, Lauren did not get an Evil Swarm version because he was not sealed in the ice barrier.
He's also not
Dulorn is
murdered.
technically a good guy ice barrier, as opposed to the dragons, which are evil.
Also,
That's
the
why.
dragons
controlled by
are
the mirror.
really fucking strong, so
They
I
were
assume
controlled
that's
by
why
the mirror, and
yeah.
Dulorn was just the actual of the ice
Yeah, no.
barrier.
And I kind of suspect Dulorn actually died.
Well, that's
The
not
dragons died
necessarily a
too.
barrier for our Lswarm virus, but if I was the Lswarms, I would be going after these dragons because they're bullshit.
Because they also
Oh,
kill.
yeah.
I mean, Trishula also
Like,
did kill all the ice barriers.
Trishula like soloed a couple of factions in Dual Terminal. He's a big boy. So Evil Swarm Ouroboros is a rank 4 dark dragon with 2750 attack, 1950 defense. It does require 3 level 4 monsters, and unfortunately is not Shockmaster, but Shockmaster is banned.
But
so
it does have an effect for each head.
yeah, it has an appropriate effect for a card based on Trishula.
Yeah.
They pulled back on his effect a lot because they realized what Trishula did.
Well,
yeah, I
we
was
should
gonna
also.
say, I'm pretty
I would
sure
like to remind
Trishula
everybody.
was banned at this point
2 level
too.
4s.
I would also like to remind everybody.
level fours.
Trish is still limited to this day. It's semi-limited in the OCG and limit 1 in the TCG. So,
Yeah.
Trish is even with its requirements of needing 3 mats, usually Trish is a motherfucker of a monster.
And rip bad.
Yeah. A hand rip and also a targeted graveyard banish and a targeted field banish. Very spicy.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
And Trish
The
has
fact
seen
that they
time on
banish
War Banlist.
means
Yeah.
it's even better than hand rip.
So
You don't get that graveyard effect.
Ouroboros reads, once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card, then activate one of these effects. Each effect can only be used once while this card is face up on the field. So basically, you detach 1 to do 1 effect, etc. So its first effect is target 1 card your opponent controls, return that to the hand. Second effect is send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard. Third effect, target 1 card in your opponent's graveyard, banish that target. So obviously, not as cracked as Trishula, still pretty good. This is a bounce, a hand rip, and a what's the good? I mean, DD Crow. Yeah, DD Crow is the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
It's not a floodgate like Ophion, but it's a
He's a
very
big
big
dude.
bungus. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's very big.
Yeah.
2750 is it's up there.
And for being generic, 3-mat, not that hard to do. Like
Oh,
I
yeah,
said,
no.
there were straight up Shockmaster focused decks. Again, also not a floodgate like Shockmaster if you were actually playing Evil Swarm. If Shock was legal for Dragon Ruler format, I don't remember if he'd been banned yet.
Shock got banned incredibly quick after it came out. If I
Yeah, it's
remember.
because Shock is fucking degenerate. It's not, that card is not okay. You just get to block your opponent out of playing a card type for the rest of a turn. Just no,
yeah,
you can't do that.
Just one format.
Game 2 and 3, when you know what your opponent is playing, they lose.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah,
one format.
so obviously not as powerful as Shockmaster, but still a decent card, and making 3 mats is not hard because there were people turboing out Shockmaster. That's why he got banned. So this is a pretty big boy boss for this archetype. God help you if you get this and Ophion on the board, right? Because then they can't special summon anything large, and you've got a large asshole.
Yep.
Now, alphabetically, there is one final Evil Swarm extra deck monsto. Yeah, let me pull up the card art for this, and then I'll
This
leave
one
you guys to
actually
talk
looks
about
pretty cool as well.
Thanatos, because I got to go hunting for a couple of card arts for this, funnily enough. So,
I mean, I will bring up that I think
At least in the small art.
some of the actual like infestation cards that we're showing just art wise talked about before earlier.
well,
but
we've talked about all the infestations that are about steel swarms already, I think.
I was thinking about like infection, pandemic, and.
I don't actually think they've had it. I've looked at them. I don't think
I think
Pandemic's
Terminus
that-
is worthly showing, but
Yeah, I
one
said that
should-
already. Terminus is good. That's an actual action
Yeah.
shot. Pandemic and what's the other big Lswarm one? The continuous trap.
infection.
Yeah, infestation, infection. It's just kind of
It just kind of shows that. Or
Blurry.
let's bring it up. I'm just gonna talk about it, I guess.
well. You should talk about Thanatos because I gotta go digging.
That's her. I think his
Yeah.
design's cool.
I mean,
Okay.
it's Raijin riding
Unicorn.
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 Also, some of the minions are there too. But like they're also
Very-
undead.
Yeah, just a very cool Dark Knight thing.
The undead paladin, the undead anti-paladin.
So there's Unicorn. I guess I'll shrink that by like 50.
I think I grew up a
We
little bit.
we went for the headless horseman vibe, but with a head.
And it's your boy Raging. Possibly Reagan, but or you know,
It also has,
Shire,
like-
Reagans.
It's also the thing of it's also like riding the horse properly, so he's actually like, so they're not like dumb. They're actually like, I think they still keep the intelligence they had when they died. I guess.
Yeah. Also, I mean that somebody added those because you'll notice Unicorn doesn't have stirrups. This guy is in fact stirruped. But yeah, no, it's Ragin riding Unicorn. Ragin is slightly spikier and or axe bladier, and also has a cool sword now.
And a purple gem in his
Yeah.
Actually, no.
gut.
It's just the evil version of the sword he carries that he never draws.
Oh, he does have a sword in his there. Yeah, sorry, I shrunk the art. So you're right. Okay, so he's actually drawn his sword now. It is color changed also, and appears to be missing a No, it's still got the slot for Konami arm. It's just the angle. Okay. By the way, I wanna point something out here. I don't actually think the minions are corrupted. I think they're just cosplaying. He's wearing a pot with spoons taped to it on his head, like antenna.
Yeah, this guy's being a spy for the others.
These goons out here, just like, yeah, we'll work for anyone. Fuck it.
I mean, yeah, they're like level 0 monsters because they don't do anything.
Yeah, they're just
They-
part of the fabled thing, but that's adorable.
They exist to get shit on by the fabled pets.
But yeah, so I think Thanatos also has a pretty cool art. You can clearly see which 2 cards it is, and it's a very interesting wombo combo of a couple of cards, right? Like most of our evil swarms are 1 monster or are vaguely themed. Obviously, Azathoth was a lot of monsters, but still. This is another semi-generic one. This is a Dock Fiend rank 4 with 2350 attack, 1350 defense. Requires 2 level 4 dark monsters. Once per turn, quick effect. You can attach 1 material from this card. This face-up card is unaffected by other monster effects this turn.
You know, I just noticed.
Yeah.
The 3 minions are like the 2 minions on Raijin and the 1 minion on Unicorn's art, actually, so they just carry over.
Yeah, it's an art fusion. But yeah, fairly decent effect. Not the best stat line, but a quick effect, no monster effects don't work on me, actually, is fairly decent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It
it's
does not beat a Monarch.
card
but
that
it will
has
beat up a
pretty good
Wrestler.
matchups into some decks. Very terrible matchups into other decks, you know?
Yeah.
He's out here.
So let us pull up the spell trap we've been discussing. This is the card art for Infestation Terminus, which is Constellar Ptolemy M7 fights Ouroboros.
It's actually pretty damn cool.
Over the Mist Valley Shrine, by the way, also. But yeah, this is an action
it's
shot and a
high
half.
up outside.
I like that Ouroboros has added some dark flames. You know, there's the tail attack. This is very good card art.
I think this is probably like one of like the final battles of like Lswarm arc, essentially.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we
It
talked
probably
about this.
mean it means
Ptolemy's,
Ouroboros got slammed into the temple and awakened Sophia.
Yeah. Unfortunately, effect-wise, this card is bad. It's a shittier Icarus attack. You target an Lswarm monster you control and 2 cards your opponent controls. You banish your monster and return the other 2 to hand. So
I mean, it makes me think of like the Shiranui Icarus attack, where it's like at least. Probably that's just an advantage say at all.
yeah, Shiranui Swallow Slash is good because Shiranui's it does not you tribute the zombie monster, so it's generic, and then you can choose to banish a Shiranui for an effect. While still getting the Icarus attack pop. It is all advantage, whereas Infestation Terminus is bad advantage.
Yeah, Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, your monsters are all dark, so you can, Crevice from the Dark Dimension, but that's not the strategy you should be playing with here. Just play Compulse. Set 2 Compulses.
Yeah.
Or Netherwing Beast. is actually-
Generally speaking,
thunder.
going -4 in hand advantage is bad.
Yeah.
Because
It's
you're
only
using a
good if
card in
you're
your
doing
hand,
it
you're
for,
banishing a
like-
card, and your opponent has 2 cards in hand.
I mean, it's only worth it if your opponent has these like a seasoned synchro monsters on their board only. But even then,
Yeah, it's
the art's the best part about the card.
Yeah, I know.
Oh yeah, there might be. I'll have to wait. This one does actually show an Evil Swarm. This one would have actually been good. We did in Gemini's Xyz Soul.
Wait,
Let me see. Did I mention Xyz Soul? There's a lot of generically named cards.
Yeah, but from with the Xyz Soul shows Gemini Pearl sacrificing himself to protect Constellar M7.
Alright. Now, we mentioned this before, but there's technically a couple of follow-up monsters that came out later after this archetype was basically shotgunned in Hidden Arsenal 7. The first one, I think we may have showed the card art last time, but we didn't discuss like the effect or anything.
Might as well show.
It is Evil Swarm Kerkion.
I don't think there's any other card.
We have technically 2 more cards.
Okay.
Yeah, one of
I
them is Guy.
So, Kerkion.
It's a fucked up version of Rasselhog.
Yeah, it's Rasselhog.
He has the Gishki mirror.
He has the
earlier
Aqua
staff.
Mirror. He also has the 3 orbs from each of the Ice Barrier dragons that got corrupted.
I'm wondering if
he's
it's
also
like, he got
holding
less
artifact
corrupted and-
catechist.
I'm imagining the weird thing of like, I wonder if he just, with the remaining energy orbs, he took the staff and I guess he's just been fucked up by the power. I'm not even sure.
Well, we've discussed this. First of all, this guy comes back as later cards. We'll be referencing this card several times because he shows up in Shadal and Zephyra later. But also, we showed the card art for Constellar Caduceus, who is clearly just Kirkion with all the evil shit scraped off. So,
Which means I don't think he's been corrupted, or at least I don't think he's been reanimated. I think he's been corrupted, which is a bit different.
or he's just using all the power the Evil Swarm had, because this is how we defeat what's her face, Sophia.
True, because he does have the ice wings. So he's taking part of like Ouroboros.
He is wearing some serious clown shoes, though.
Yeah, his shoes are very. I mean, his shoes are the Evil Swarm spikes. There's a lot of spikes in
He
here.
also
There's
grew up
some-
a bit.
There's definitely some things, some comments I have about Kirkion, but overall it's a decent design. It's obviously blending more Constellar aspects as well, but you know, it's got all the spikes and stuff. It's okay.
There's a lot of lore shit here.
Yeah, this is much like its Constellar counterpart, Constellar Sombre. This is almost kind of a lore card, though it does certainly have some application in the effects. So this is a Dark level 4 spellcaster, 1600 attack, 1550 defense, the opposite stat line of Sombre. You can only use each effect of Evilswarm Kirkion once per turn. While this card is in your graveyard, if it was sent there this turn, you can normal summon an Lswarm monster for 1 less tribute. So obviously that has more synergy with Steel Swarm, who I believe also have some normal summon effects. Though it does synergize with a couple of the large boys. But the other thing is you can banish 1 Lswarm monster from your graveyard, then target 1 Lswarm monster in your graveyard, add that target to your hand. Also, this card gains the following effect. You can activate this effect, normal summon 1 Lswarm monster. So, it's not quite the, the modern era of Legacy support where you get 1 card that does 50 things, but this is a card that goes in Lswarm decks that lets you more easily summon your large boys, and also you can Xyz better, because remember, you banish an Lswarm, then you add an Lswarm from your graveyard to your hand, and then you can activate Kirkion's new effect to normal summon an Lswarm monster immediately. So it gives you Xyz plays. Or tribute plays, I guess, if you really want to, but God help you, why would you?
Yeah, it's a solid card.
Yeah.
It's
At least
not.
too late, but would be broken when he came out.
Yeah,
if
it's
he'd
not
come out earlier.
the bulletproof effect that you'd want. It's not quite how like we talked about Constellar Caduceus does like 3 or 4 things for the archetype, but is decent. And next, I think this was about a year later, technically, we have our Elastic Seas monster, who is technically an Evil Swarm. Funnily enough, this is Evil Swarm Exciton Knight.
This fucking asshole.
Oh yeah,
So-
right. He's not listed
Thanks
as.
to the freaking trade.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah. It does look
Free
like.
errata, arguably the strongest rank 4 monster of all fucking
I've just
time.
noticed it's like. The pattern on his wings. It's like, it is very much like. I guess like.
It's the Constellar type pattern that they usually have behind them when they're
Like yeah,
summoned.
it's like it's an Evil Storm can like I guess summon via Constellar power because it has like it's all golden and like white.
So, what's the? Yeah, so the card that I believe we are. Yeah, okay. There we go. This is what makes sense. So this is an important card because we are art-wise because we're kind of wrapping up the 2nd gen effect. This card is Sacred Serpent's Wake. So you'll notice Steel Swarm Roach. Ariel and Avance. Not Ariel. Amelia. But Avance and Amelia and Roach are chilling while the light and dark halves of the Caduceus staff are shooting off to space and regrowing life and stuff.
Basically, the Evil Swarm and the Constellar have combined to become a new Genesis kind of thing.
Yeah. And so, Evil Swarm Exciton Knight is.
I guess like re-empowered Roach.
Yeah. He's Roach, but good now because he's light.
It's interesting how it's like Roach as we joked about it. I think originally he's like the weird honorable general of like the dark generals or something.
Yeah.
That's like that kind of weirdly fits actually how he went.
Yeah, and he's got an interesting design because his spikes are smaller and are like gold now. He shows a lot more of like a bodysuit underneath. It's a very interesting way of like, and something we don't often see a lot in Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Does a lot of the reverse where we're like, let's take this monster and make it evil or a zombie or an evil zombie.
Here's the redemption. And he's actually really
this
powerful.
is a redemption. We took a evil monster and we made him good. Here he is. Unfortunately, they made him very good. Though I would like to say, he has a very interesting name in Japanese. It's Reikishi Vezubuto. So, Verzbuth, the Exciton Glimmer Knight. Which is weird. Exciton, by the way, that refers to a specific state of electrons. It's some kind of physics joke.
I would notice the thing is, I've noticed the weird thing about it is like, he has more of the Evil Swarm like design ethos with it like just with like the pauldron bits of like the curved blades and like the more pronounced spikes.
Okay.
I mean, I think Steel Swarm still had those.
Being called the Glimmer Knight sort of makes sense with some of his later incarnations.
Yeah, there's some future shit. But also, when we get to it, his stat line is also very indicative of him no longer being evil because he's 1900 0. He has round numbers.
Roach was like that too, I think.
Well, yeah, but he's not corrupted, so he doesn't have different 50s. The only other one who's kind of like that, half like that, is Kerkion, who's got one round number and 150. So, Evil Swarm Exciton Knight is a light, level 4, rank 4, sorry, Fiend, 1900, obviously. And it has an errata. So, its first effect was, once per chain, during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase, if your opponent has more total cards in their hand and field than you do, detach what exceeds material on this card, destroy all the cards on this field, but this card, your opponent takes no further damage this turn. The final version of this is a quick effect to detach one material and then destroy all other cards. and it's still the Hander field, so it's pretty spicy.
I don't notice what they changed out there, Ron. What did they change? Effect?
Yeah, they made it a specific quick effect, and
Yeah. Right.
cleaned up some of the text.
Apparently, there's some text they put underneath for the lore. It says, even after obtaining my new card, I still perform my role as the world's watcher every day. But lately, it feels like something ominous is happening in the world again. So, just at the start of the third freaking thing.
Yeah, this would be at the start of the third arc, maybe the intro for the third season of the anime.
I will say,
This
like,
guy's looking out just like,
But
Why is
there's
this
my
one
tab for
going?
Exciton Knight.
I honestly like that Roach is the one that got to became really cool because Roach was the one design of the Steel Storm I really liked. He also come up as the one that wasn't just like ambiguously awful.
Yeah.
He had like
And you can see him in the picture. He's not like super over designed as Roach. But yeah, so Exciton Knight, pretty spiced. You do still need the advantage of having more. Your opponent has to have more cards than you, so you can't ever do it proactively. You got to do it on the back foot.
Mm-hmm. But it's really spicy.
Yeah, it is still a board nukem. It does, of course, have that no further damage this turn, so you can't be like, main phase, make Roach, destroy, and then I summon 5 more monsters, die. It's a little bit like how they ended up ordering Dark Strike Fighter to be only main phase 1, so you can't swing in with him after. But yeah, so Exciton Knight is both interesting lore-wise and a pretty good effect, and it's just a generic 4. And we're waiting until Battles of Legend Light's Revenge for him to be fucking reprinted. Because he's kind of a cool card. But he was a secret rare, both times.
oh yeah, just to check on this, have we talked about the Vassal Sophia?
We've talked about what Sophia does. I don't think we've ever pulled up her card art before. Actually, no, we have pulled up her card art before. I don't think we've ever pulled her card up on screen and described what the card Sophia does. But we talked about how Sophia is sealed in the Mist Valley Temple. She comes out. She is creation and destruction. And last week we talked about how Kirkion and Sombra busted her orbs so she could not destroy.
Yeah.
And kind of, prevented the cycle from being reset again.
Yeah.
Even though, since the next generation was Shadal's, maybe we should have.
Yeah, I think right.
Nah, Shadal's
I
are
think the
fine.
future Assel Goddess card has some connections to the first Assel Goddess card.
Yeah, that's Avida, I think.
Tiara.
Tiara, right? Tiara, and then Avida is the dual terminal one, strongly indicating that dual terminal is just yet another spin on this cycle because it has the exact same grammar in its name as the other two.
I just thought of.
Go ahead.
I just have a weird thing of I never thought about it, but the Steel Swarm weren't actually hype intelligence most of the time. Either the mouth there on the virus there.
Yep.
Makes me think
Origin,
of
by the way.
it's the leader, the guy that became Zilgigus. I can never
Yeah.
but
So Steel Storm are interesting. I haven't really pulled up the card art because, like I said, it's not that interesting.
because I just think about Roach and I guess an Exciton Knight who was he was part of it, but it's only when they died did they become the virus that became a weird hive mind.
Yeah,
But before
I
that,
guess-
they were just an evil. They were an evil agenda, but it wasn't a mindless death.
Well, they're supposed to be psychic, so I assume that's what not the psychic type, but they're a psychic infection. So I assume that's what we're going for. But I will actually, just because we're talking about illustrate a point,
Considering how Roach
I
doesn't
will bring
reach
up
Regine, he's not
Infestation
a corpse
Pandemic.
thing.
Just because that's a card art that is relevant. So this is Infestation Pandemic. You will see a lot of Lswarm spooky smoke faces.
Yeah, it comes out of the corpses.
No, it's not coming out of the corpses, buddy. I'm pretty sure it's going into the corpse.
Oh, okay.
Actually,
I
no,
can
what
hard
it's
to tell.
doing is it's carrying, I think, the armor plate for Bahamut there. They are moving shit around to rebuild him. There's Catastrophe being remade into Golem. And there's the Aqua Mirror thing. So they can, like, lift stuff. So the actual
Possess the
Lswarm
body, I
stuff
guess.
is, like, formless psychic murder ghosts, probably. With spooky faces.
Is it like the Spriggans where like the things that like possess like body?
Yeah, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah.
Not that so much chat's going to get that, but you should go look up Springan's concept art. They're actually, like, little coal motes. Oh, so there's a big fucking chair in the background, I just realized. That's probably from one of the Fabled. There's a
think
lot of
that's
shit
like-
lying around
it
in
might
the
be-
ground.
You think it's Leviathan's throne or something?
Yeah, there's a lot of crap here. Apparently, the Lswarms are dumpster divers.
I mean, I think there was a thing where it's like after the Jurak meteor, right, where it destroyed the fabled city. So
Yeah, so you can see that the actual Lswarm guys are guys, and they can manipulate physical objects. But I guess being a smoke cloud, being an evil vape cloud's not very impressive and doesn't get you a lot of evil victories. You got to become an evil dragon instead. So we've talked about Steelswarm Origin again before, but we will actually bring it up. It's a very interesting card. I don't think there's any lore for it because it's very new. It was released during the Link era, so that they could support.
I mean, besides the shape, I think the only lore bit is like the like face bit that connects to like first
Yeah.
dude of like the Steel Swarm.
And
Might
it
have
looks a
been
lot
the
like the
cause.
cards like Dark Sacrifice, Creeping Darkness, Infestation, Infection. It looks a little bit like the structure of a Fabled card, but not really.
Was it Heracles? I think. Or, I can't remember the name. It was like the name of the one guy who basically was also the one that was like fucked up. No, it was
Yeah, I know. It was whichever one was the biggest boss monster. That might have been Heracles. But so Steelswarm Origin is a light fiend, which is kind of interesting. One, because that's also what Exciton Knight's typing ends up as, but that is also what Fabled's type is. So I don't know if they're trying to like backport that Lswarms are actually Fabled. I don't know if that makes sense. The
Or
Fabled
if
do all get
the-
exploded, but I
or
thought
if
the
the
evil was
Lswarm-
sealed inside the mirror.
I was thinking, unless it's like more that Fabled created the Lswarm long ago.
I mean, it could be. The Fabled were chilling underground. But the Fabled pre-existed the Lswarm virus technically because the Lswarm doesn't come out of the mirror until Noelia tries to fuck with it
I see this
because
recently, but supposedly
she's fighting the Fabled.
supposedly the Fabled used to be colors, to some degree.
What was that, Axe?
Something.
You were too quiet. They used to be what?
Supposedly there was a thing that like the
Oh,
Fabled
you don't need to yell.
used to be Constellars like way long ago,
I don't know anything about that.
but I don't know.
That sounds made up. Hold on. Where's my master guide? I'm going to Control F Fabled. Fabled Tribes revives, and they appear. Come on, guys. Get your grammar. So they are awakened by the mayhem on the surface, perhaps by the allies' dimensional interference, blah, blah, blah. Fabled who are sleeping since time immemorial, awoken their minions to the surface world. They destroy dinosaurs. When Fabled break out, they wake up Gungear. Oh, it's the Fabled appear, right. So they got rid of the worms, but the Fabled were still going, and now they awoke their beasts, so they're scaly. But the Juraks are mad at them and exploded them. But some of them were still left, so they woke up Trishula, which is, like I said, that's the Noelia thing doesn't happen until after the Fabled are all gone.
So after I say about like Trishula destroying all the ice barrier.
Well, yeah, that was in that middle bit.
Yeah.
But they woke up Trishula because there were still Fableds left and they were still slapping everybody. Let's see. Eternal Seal on the Gate of Chaos. So, Fabled are from the Gate of Chaos. Collect on the surface. Fabled invaded from the Fabled Realm, so they are from a different dimension, I guess. Separating a hierarchy of distinct groups, blah, blah, blah. Realm of Demons, Realm of Roars. Realm of Gods. So, Leviathan is pretty big, and there's Imps. Imps who have various names like Malice, Breach, Heresy, Wrath, and then names like Vio and Greed. I think it's supposed to be violence and greed, but come on, Japan. Consonants, they exist. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, talking about Natalia and Noelia. They were trying to do that. Yeah, that's it. So no, I see no connection to Constellars and
okay.
Fabled in there. The Fabled are from another dimension. But anyway, Steel Swarm Origin, to wrap this up. It is a Light Fiend. It is a Link 2, 2K attack, 2 Lswarm monsters, so in archetype. While this card is in an extra monster zone, if a monster would be special summoned from the extra deck to the main monster zone, it must be summoned to the zone this card points to. While this card points to a monster, neither player can target it with card effects. Also can be destroyed by battle or card effect. Once per turn, when a monster on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, special summon 1 Lswarm monster from your deck in defense position. Sorry, you can special summon level 4 or lower Lswarm monsters from your deck in defense position up to the monster destroyed. So, this is a pretty decent attempt to give them some link potential because they're an Xyz deck. It gives you free mats if you have monsters that get blown up. It kind of controls where your opponent summons, but not really. It does, though, prevent your opponent from co-linking, unless they get really creative. Because they can still use their EMZ, but if they want to go further than that, they have to summon to the point pointing at this guy. So it's not the greatest link effect, but it, special summon monsters from your deck is fun. Right?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
only the most abusable mechanic we've introduced besides burn damage.
Yeah.
It's
So
always a good time.
I think it's okay. It does have it has the top and bottom arrows, so obviously it does give your opponent a link zone, but that's part of its plan, because if your opponent summons there, they get fucked. I do not think it is quite enough disruption to make Lswarms relevant in the Link era, because, at least not without having strong rock, paper, scissors matchups, because it doesn't do anything about Link monsters, other than control where your opponent summons one of them one time. Like I said, it might fuck up their co-linking or arrows, but they can still get to at least 2 Link monsters because it doesn't say that they have to summon it there. They can still use their EMZ. And if you don't know what an EMZ is, play some Master Duel. Or don't, because it sucks. I said it. Before all the extra people showed up, I was going to yell about the Master Duel ban list.
Actually, why don't we talk about that now? Because we're already...
we're done, yeah.
We've been doing this for 2 hours.
Yeah.
We're going to do this for 2 hours. You're right. Only an hour 45. Wow, I guess because the art was good. We zoomed through that. Also, Dallas wasn't here for 15-minute diversions.
It was more good to mediocre. So nothing was bad.
Yeah, Evil Storm is just good art.
Well, and then the other thing too is that, like Omega was just saying, Dallas is kind of typically our one that talks about.
I can only comment so much about the meta relevant. Wow, Jesus Zed. Everything, literally the entire Evil Swarm episode. You've missed all of it.
Yeah,
we're 2 hours and 12 minutes. Okay, Mike.
We're going to talk about.
We are now looking for excuses to faff on.
No,
Yeah.
David, I was this. So now this is where, if we had good editing skills, we would bring up the hard leg gaming clip of as we
Yeah,
hit
if
the
I knew
wall
how
back-
to de-green screen Hard Legs clip, if I had the template, I would love to.
It's like
Go watch Hard Legs video. But
the list
it's
is
very
bad.
funny.
So the list is nothing.
It
Or
sucks.
it's
It's
worth-
nothing.
So
Yeah.
I have watched a lot of videos people talk about it. So I want to bring this up.
It's not
Okay,
good.
David.
I mean, I think there is maybe 2 effects on the list which are
It
pretty
still needs
useful.
a list
Yeah.
of actual cards.
Hold
There
on,
still
let
needs to
me-
be
let me
bans
pull
on
up
the
the
ban
full
list is the thing. So it's
Yeah,
like
so give me a second to actually, if anybody
think,
hasn't
it's
seen
bent
it, let
into
me...
1. Bent into 1's good,
a piece
right?
to 1 and a bunch of cards to 2.
Ben
Yeah,
10 to 1 is good. It does functionally nothing. Waleva is at 3.
Yeah,
The thing about it
agree.
is that
Let me pull
almost
this up.
none of the cars are URs.
Well, okay. Let's roll through this in order. Because there's a couple of things here. First of all, you'll notice this list is fucking tiny. Usually
yeah.
when the
Also,
TCG makes a big swingy ban list, there's usually like several items on it that actually change something. There's a lot of semi-limits on this list, which is very OCG and doesn't do anything. I said it. It's true. It doesn't do it. Okay. Technically, before anybody gets on my case, there are some Galaxy brains on Twitter with awful takes. Yes, technically, it does affect the percentages a little bit, inconsistency. And yes, I said there were 2 items I think that are actually good actionable items on here. DD Dynamite 2-2 does kill that one bot deck. You cannot actually do the combo if you can't Trap Trick or Lilith it, which you can't do with 2.
Oh,
You need to activate at least 2 to
Like
FTK.
that's the one everyone agrees with is fine.
Yes.
Like that's the one that's like that makes sense.
I thought it was bad until Omega reminded me that, oh no, you do need the 3rd copy in the deck in order.
Yes,
to
you actually need to activate 2 DD Dynamites to do the FTK. You can't do it with 1.
Well, I forgot that Trap Trick you had to
it
banish
banishes.
1.
I mean,
Yeah.
this is certainly a soft touch. Like, if this was the TCG and people were abusing it, it would be 1 or 0. Like, they would just be like, fuck you, no DD Dynamites. The OCG
Again,
is like,
it's
okay.
just to bring it up. A lot of people brought this up. I think I've watched a bunch of videos, so like I feel like I have some of an informed.
Well,
understanding
yeah,
about-
I half mentioned this earlier. Every motherfucker made a ban list video immediately. It was great.
But I want to bring up a thing of there is a solid conspiracy theory about how none of the problem cards that all have summon animations made for them have been hit.
Well, no, that's
Well,
just a
there's
red flag.
that's the
Or
shittiest
any
conspiracy theory.
or any UR cards.
Yeah, the better one actually is the UR one, which I want to say, if that's why Konami didn't ban UR cards, fuck you, Konami. Nobody asked for that because they are implementing a refund mechanic. If you dismantle a card which is now limited or forbidden, you get triple your refund on it. Cool. Great.
You get a full,
If you
get a-
wanted to hit skill drain, everyone just get 90 UR.
Well,
points.
except they don't axe because Konami made that shit up. They didn't have to do the refund mechanic. And I think it's cool that they did, but I think every sane Master Duel player, if you have to pick between refunds of a full card for Forbidden List or not banning URs, every single motherfucker will say, ban URs, ban IO.
Yeah, no.
Ban Block
Ban
Dragon.
Also, here's the thing. You want to know what makes less money than refunding people free cards to print? Nobody fucking playing your game because they're sick of it.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
the,
It's
the
a
main
lot less
the main
money.
thing, the main consensus I've seen from most people is while this does theoretically affect top decks, and Konami did say they used their back-end analytics to make this list. Unfortunately,
and it's also open to change. but
yes,
still,
it's not implemented yet, and they said this is only the first draft. I hope everybody telling them they're wrong will make them realize, oh, maybe we need to be a little harsher. I don't know, maybe this is their like beta test, and they're gonna be like, oh, okay, you guys are okay without the refund if we hit URs. Cool. But the main thing is, if they did base this on analytics, which I think they did, they based it only on analytics. There was no player input in that. So you can see the limits are Ben 10, okay, a good limit. Doesn't actually do anything to that deck unless you also hit Ava. The TCG did the same thing, over the next couple of months anyway. Conk 2-1? I mean...
The one
I
is
can only
good.
imagine it's to hit it for its graveyard effect.
Well, it's to affect Eldritch, and I will
hit
say...
Eldritch without hitting IO or skill drain.
Yeah, I will say, this does actually affect Eldritch. My main problem is... okay, cool. If you can't find your conch, you can just skill drain and IO and whatever and wait.
Conch is the in-archetype searchable removal, so this is a good hit. Should have just hit Scarlet Sanguine or the Floodgates, probably, but...
I honestly
I don't-
I feel like Eldritch cards are fine.
I
It's
think
hit the other cards that aren't.
Scarlet's a little too.
I mean, I think
necessary
the
for
main
the
thing is I don't think anybody who
it's
fights
really
Eldritch is like, damn, that conch, that's really kicking my ass. It's like, first he flips skill drain or pot
And
of
IO.
duality or IO and whatever, or and then you're like, ah shit, and then you're like, now he's conking. Like it's
Now I have to hope I have a Kaichu. in hand.
Now he's Conch double Sanguine. What do I do?
yeah, and I'm
I
floodgate.
only have one Ash.
Yeah, there's only so much you can do. It's an
Yeah.
okay hit to Eldritch. I just don't think it's the hit anybody was asking for.
Yeah, and I don't think it's the right hit either.
Yeah. So Sekka's Light, I
Outside of
think that was an
Outside of
adamant
all
variant.
the bot stuff with DD Dynamite, I think Fusion Destiny is the next most impactful hit, and that card isn't even out.
Yeah, Fusion Destiny is clearly the OCG guys realized DPE will be a problem. Fusion Destiny has straight up been banned, and I think, did they actually forbid DPE in the OCG?
No, I think they've just hit Fusion Destiny.
Okay, they blasted Fusion Destiny and Verte finally. They finally
Yeah.
realized after printing like 3 or 4 fusion cards which fuse from deck into obscene monsters that maybe Verte was the problem all along.
It took
what is
exactly
Torn-
Ice Jade,
What does
or
Torn Scales
whatever
do?
that dragon
Yeah,
is.
Ice Jade Dragon. It took them branded fusion before they realized, oops.
So what does Torn Scales do?
Torn Scale does nothing. It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah, Torn Scales is a valuable Phantom Knights card, and I know Phantom PK is like much like BA. PK is an eternal archetype in the OCG. They love that over there. Torn Scales is important. Its exact effect is. I gotta reset my music.
and it's
Hold on.
like-
Torn Scales is here because it gets out a big Rongo mini head, but the issue is at
Just
2 it
ban
still does
Rongo.
that, and it's
Does Rongo
searchable
get
as fuck,
one?
so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so Torn Scales'
Yeah.
effect is you can discard 1 card, send 1 Phantom Knights card from your deck to the graveyard, except Torn Scales. If another Phantom Knights card in your graveyard is banished while this card is in your graveyard, you can special summon it but banish it when it leaves the field.
Fractal was and then Tri-Berry Fractal is the one you
Well,
discard to summon, right?
Fractal does also does nothing. It's discard to foolish, but
Yeah, I mean,
at 2 Fractal the deck's still
I
I
have
mean,
heard some
it's
people
a
say that
starter.
the math for it actually, like, does help a little, but it's probably not the Tri-Brigade hit people would expect.
Yeah,
Um,
no.
We also have 3 tanky.
Yeah.
So that's all you
Again,
need
the
to send back.
TCG's version of this was just put Tenki to 1, as opposed to affecting Fractal. Virtual World Roshi, again, they just this we should have expected. Yeah,
Lao is already at 2 in every list, is the
Yeah.
thing.
He's already at 2. Again, this is the reason why they're hitting him is because he's part of the thing that makes you VFD. Again, you can solve this by just banning VFD. You haven't even actually, is he limited to Master Duel? I don't remember.
Like honestly, it should be
No, he's at 1.
Okay, so you
But
can't
you
double
only need
VFD.
one.
The OCG did that for a long time, but you should still put him in jail. Put that fucker to jail. Nobody likes him. I know the meta's weird, but nobody likes that guy. Get rid of him.
And then
I don't even know.
Your
Like, I don't.
Cobalt is the one that adds a Wing Beast to your hand, so you could search like 3 or 4 cards over your combo, but you still search 3 or 4 cards over your combo because you have
Yeah.
Recital.
Yeah, and you
So
have 2.
yeah,
it
I was
doesn't
gonna
matter.
say honestly, yeah, recital to 1 is the Lyrillist kit, unfortunately.
And even then, I don't even know if you actually like. I don't think Lyrilisk on its own is necessarily the problem, right?
No,
Isn't it?
the problem is the Tri-Brigade engine. Before we get into the Adamantipator hits, of which there are 3 of them here, they didn't touch Zodiac at all.
No.
Yeah.
As Drident, anybody who's playing knows that Zodiac is the best deck right now because it's adaptable. It's the most adaptable. It plays second or first.
Yeah. None of these really work with the fact that also because of where we're at that Zoo has access to Zeus.
Yeah.
I
They
think
have
you can play
Zeus,
multiple
they have
Zeus as
Dryden,
well.
they really just do whatever they want.
Stack because the one part of Zodiac problem is like you have to, 1 card stacking and just get to Zeus event.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. You get a big fucking Zeus, and
Well,
you can just keep doing it.
that's always going to be the problem with any kind of XCs that allow you to direct attack. But
No, it's
yeah,
one
no,
card exceeds is the
Zodiac
problem, really,
Zodiac
but
can abuse it the worst.
it's more the problem that it's 1 card exceeds, which
Yeah, it's a 1 card exceeds, and then also
Yeah.
Dryden is a really annoying 1 card exceeds.
Yeah, Dryden is an FTK in some matchups.
And then
And now we have
Adamantipator.
Sekka's Light, Roxy's, and Adamantipator Analyzer. These are all here because of exactly Adamantipator, and they all do exactly nothing. Well, Roxy's is kind of a big hit, honestly, but that's it.
Yeah, so
Oh,
as a guy who briefly played Adamantipator to try and get to Plat, I did not quite overtune my deck, but I didn't even play the Sekka's Light variant because that's not
I haven't
intrinsically
either.
the version.
I don't like the Sekka's Light variant personally. It's good, but I don't like it. The Prank Kids engine with 3 Roxys, 1 Dropsies amazing.
Yeah.
So crazy.
That's
'Cause
a
you get
pretty
your
decent
watering
hit,
grave.
but the main thing is for print
Analyzer
kids.
is worthless.
Well, also,
It's
so
worst
the other
tuner.
thing is, I assume their Roxy's may also have been to double up for prank kids. The problem is, because they have all their extra deck monsters, they have 3 Meowmew, I believe is the key one.
Yeah.
Most prank kid decks play 2 Roxys anyway, so.
The other issue is, Roxy's is also the worst prank kid in prank kids.
And then,
he's
yeah,
the worst normal summon. Analyzer is the worst tuner because it doesn't extend. It has to start off, or you have to have a very specific way to get into it.
now,
The bottom line with what
hypothetically-
happened to Adamancipator, the bottom line is they're better because they just got Baron to Fleur lines with Block Dragon. So
Yeah, Block Dragon is fine, which is the problem, and you can still go into Baron.
Black Dragon. I
Yeah.
kind of wish they limited Dragon because I feel like that would
Uh,
have what.
I mean, they
Block
should
Dragon
probably
at 1
bait it.
is Block Dragon at 3 because we have access to Gallon Granite.
Yeah, I assume that's what they're going for with Analyzer, because Analyzer is the 4, so you can use that to make the Gallant Granite. But again, it's a 2. It doesn't matter. You still have 2 Adamancipator Analyzers. And guys, I have
You
played
also still have
Adamancipator.
Guardian.
It doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter. The
You have Guardian,
Adamancipator,
you have Supplier, you have Parallax Lead. You fucking get into Block Dragon in 2 seconds.
you can stack your fucking deck no matter what you want and just be like, Block Dragon.
Yeah.
And trust me, by the time you go through all the process to get the cards that you can make to the Block Dragon,
Like-
you've done it.
I know this is a mean joke, but if you're not a mega and only get the worst draws possible,
I mean,
you
I don't.
get
That's
Block
the thing.
Dragon.
I don't get the worst draws possible in Adamancipator because you get to stack your deck and sort it.
Okay, well, your
Adamancipator is-
excavates are not that great. Is the thing.
Give
I'm
me
just saying
Adamancipator. I will prove you wrong.
Well, here's the
Hey,
thing.
we'll see you, though.
It's a
Eventually
lot about
your deck-
ratioing.
well,
If you
your
have
deck
at
could-
least 13 monsters you can special summon off of your hits, off of your excavates, you're fine. Because your combo will get through it because you can, if all those fails, just make Hulk, bro.
Yeah, that's also again, that guy's not hit at all. It's a legit strategy, and obviously no longer limited. They took the limits off DMD because he has the errata in Master Duel, and I think has started with it. So, okay, cool.
He's an okay thing.
No return of Dragoon, Red Eyes Dark Dragoon. So, because the OCG is tiny baby children about that card.
I mean, it's a card that will lose as many decks as it wins because of its effects by people drawing the brick.
Yeah.
I mean, I get why, because the Maxi challenge is also unaffected by this ban list, but with Maxi it's very easy to reload yourself for Dragoon's negates. But yeah, it's a very weird list. It's very small, and there's no bans. The limits are weird, and there's a lot of semi-limits which just don't do anything because they don't actually address the end state board, and the tiny percentage hit to your consistency doesn't really matter because everybody playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Seriously just plays all the cards that make their consistency.
It's
Enforce consistency.
It's just not
Also,
good. 'cause
Master
it-
Duel is full of deep draw.
Yeah.
You can play Into
Yeah.
the Void, you can play whatever you want.
I want to bring up that
Yes.
Again.
bring it up.
talking about this list, it just feels weird. It's like there isn't much in a way that it feels impactful.
Yeah, it doesn't
Also-
actually change the meta is the problem.
We can even go into the lack of unhits. Altergeist Multi-Faker? Yeah, Multi-Faker check? Where's that guy? That guy's bad. It's a bad card.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about Altergeist, but
But it's at
I've
1
heard
for
from
some
many
reason.
people that in the OCG it's at 1. Again, I would like to say it's unfortunate because the two communities are very separate, and by bringing them together by Master Duel, I think a lot of Master Duel players, at least at higher levels in Best of 1, lean more towards the TCG style. But
yeah,
this
it's because plenty of offense to the OCG players. Celtic Guardian Control can top over there. They are bad duelists. They do not. They play for fun.
yes,
No,
they're,
it's
they're
because-
playing
again,
casual
it's
matches.
They have the thing of if you're an asshole, protect face. No one protects face there. They don't, so they'll be asshole.
Yeah.
No,
and
that's
then
nothing to do with it. They're playing casual games, Axe.
They're playing for fun, and when we bump into NA players, we take their lunch money, and then we continue on our day.
Or they're playing like Blue Eyes or Cyber Dragon OTK, which if they win the coin flip, which they always do. I watched an MBT video where that motherfucker lost a coin flip like 8 times in a row, and I'm like, holy shit, this is me. I don't think
he's just like me.
Yeah,
he also
I mean, he did go to platinum with fucking Magic Key, so he is built different.
He's still suffering through that, but yeah.
But
supposedly it's good now.
He has the coin flips do not feel random. The game, Konami, the games are the connectivity's already dog shit. Please let me play RPS.
Yeah.
So that it feels like you have some kind of input.
Like if I'm losing to random happenstance, it still feels like it because this 50-50 coin flip shit does not feel real.
Oh shit, I gotta book a plane ticket to Australia.
Just
Hold on.
put rock, paper, scissors like every Yu-Gi-Oh game ever.
Australian Twitter is being weird. Okay.
Well,
anyway.
Twitter's just being
We're
weird
dissing
right
on the
now.
current prime minister apparently.
Nice.
Which, you know,
as you do in your country. But yeah, like we talked about, the majority of OCG events, to my understanding, are the equivalent of locals here. They're store tournaments, basically. But as opposed to here, where we have a strong blend of locals, regionals, etc. They have basically fewer regional tournaments in Japan.
I'm
so
not going to say
more...
there aren't good OCG Yu-Gi-Oh players, but I'm saying if we threw 100 competitive NA players into Japan, we would eat their shorts.
I mean, I'm fairly certain if you took TCG players and let them play in OCG tournaments, yes, they would begin to teach the OCG players lessons.
I feel like
you would give them a month.
I feel like
and
the
would
joke
walk
is
away
that
with a new
TCG players would make OCG players learn what molding is.
Like it would be like a. I can imagine the Yu-Gi-Oh
hairlines
anime
would
right now.
retract.
It's the fucking gaijin roll into town and start taking card stores like signs, like they're challenging fucking dojos.
Oh my god, that feels like a fucking like anime plot.
And that would be what it would be like. They'd be wrecking some of those fucking local card shops.
It would also be like, I also get to give me your yen. I'm not.
Like,
you don't pay me
I
cards.
understand. Listen, sometimes the OCG is cool. Dragon Maid Lunalight was top cut in some OCG metas, but if I gotta pay for fucking, triple maxi and you guys won't ban skill drain for that bullshit, nah, I'm not about it, fan. I'd rather live to have fun this century rather than just slowly rot away. But yeah, obviously, like we said, Master Duel has time to change this.
Yeah. I will say the fact that they have announced a limited ban list, even if it's dog shit, is better than they've been doing for the past couple months. So I can hope for the future.
I would also say a lot of people did notice the Fusion Destiny hit and were like, "Oh, so that means DPE must be soon." So it may be that they're trying to speed up their pack releases a little bit. Don't think
maybe they're really scared of Destiny Hero Denied.
I don't think that DPE being added will really shake things up. I don't know. I guess will that mean more people will be scythe locking in this meta? I don't know.
I mean, it's an out to skill drain because he's quick pop, but it doesn't out skill drain if skill drain is already up.
Like, I'll be real. Like, I care less about IO. I care more about skill drain than IO. But I think that's just because it's like I feel like I would like to have IO to go say fuck you to spell to like to.
No,
IO
these should both be gone. These should both. Neither of them should be good.
If you want IO, play anti-spell fragrance.
Yeah, no, anti-spell fragrance is better because it affects both players. You can't just say I don't think I'll deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's. And the main thing is, the main thing you do if you're like, oh, I'm scared of spell cards, well, then play negates, or cards that can't be destroyed by effects, or, quick play dodge effects. You can get around powerful spell card nukes and not just be like, no, you, sir, cannot interact.
I am more just tired of Sky Strikers always just having a way to bullshit their way through anything.
Well, that's a Sky Striker balance problem, also not affected by this list.
Yeah.
Also, just open Called by the Great.
Yeah.
Called
by
by is
the Grave
good.
of Ray.
That is
I can't.
With their Ray and
I
they
can't
literally
draw
lose
my
on the
2 called
spot.
bys.
That's a skill issue.
yep, skill issue.
Then
I
run
mean-
your
I
luck
mean,
card.
you're,
You
you're
guys
not
draw
going to
your
have any
objectives
better
every
chance
turn?
trying to draw your 3 IOs
Play,
than your 2 called by.
play Ghost Ogre, play
Ghost Ogre's pretty good.
I do think that they
Roll.
should. I do think that they should
I play
unlimit
Thunder Dragons, though. I can't plug into shit. That's not gonna.
or
Yes, you
unsimulate.
Axe, if you're
If you
you're
play-
playing Master Duel,
Called by.
if your deck doesn't have room for 9 hand traps, your deck is bad.
It only
Unfortunately.
no,
Also,
problem
if
is,
you're
those,
playing
problem is all
Thunder
my main
Dragon-
deck monsters are hand traps because they're Thunder Dragons.
Well, you should just play less Thunder Dragons and just end your turn on Colossus more.
I
do
don't
believe
end
that
on
is how Thunder
Colossus.
Dragon's
I only end
supposed
the
to
Colossus
work.
when it's my only play because I don't like doing just Colossus.
Well, but
Well,
that's how Thunder
if you're not
Dragons win,
playing
X.
only
I
Colossus
like Titans,
against
though, because
Skyscraper,
then
you're
I actually
losing
have
the
pop.
game. Like,
Titan,
if,
it makes
if
all
you
of-
have,
it
if
makes
you
all
have a
of my
card
hand
that
tra- it makes all
wins
of
the
my, like, hand
Skyscraper
effects
matchup by
pop.
itself, then you should make that card. Because that's what he does. Colossus wins the Sky Striker matchup. You can't add cards to their hand. What are they going to do?
I mean, they just steal it from me because they always have that card in their hand every time I play against.
Oh, they have the Widow Anchor.
Yes.
Well, you need to go first and make Colossus, buddy. You got to win the coin flip. That's how Yu-Gi-Oh works too.
Or play Forbidden Lance.
Yeah, I mean that's a quick play that works. That makes you
Or
immune to spell effects.
You're playing you're playing a deck that likes cards in their discard, right? Play Droplet.
Uh,
Droplet
no,
is
actually, it's I'm actually more of a it's more of a banished deck, but yeah. Minor chaos too. But
Droplet's a fun card. I like Droplet.
I'd have to
I
figure
mean,
it
if you
out,
want to
but
be
it's like
spicy, you can always try DD Crows because you can remove spells from the grave. Also,
Crow
it
is
easily
just
until
a
the end
generally
phase, so-
good card of Master Duel because a lot of graveyard stuff.
Crow is a good
A lot
card.
of-
By the way, Loth
Yeah.
has woken the fuck up when joining us, but he has nothing to say because we're yelling about Master Duel,
Yeah, I'm just posting Pepe gifts.
as you do.
Can you
Loth, have you seen the Master
top
Duel
up
ban
something
list?
else?
Did you see that?
Yeah. Here's my response.
Defcope 1. Yeah. Sounds about right.
why do you only have Pepe memes off?
I don't know why. I was like, oh, Pepe's adorable. Let me look up some Pepe gifts.
Hell yeah.
I always thought Pepe to be like fucking disgusting. Maybe I've just been surprised.
Like,
You
Well,
have,
you hate
you have
memes,
really
so-
not looked around. Look at this.
That one's
Like
fun,
tears
but
in the
still
rain.
gross.
Alright.
But yeah, so
I've got one for
this,
Star Wars though.
this has gone on for the 2.5 hours.
Very short for us, honestly.
Fuck, there was something I was just thinking. Oh, well, okay, right. It was Outer Entity, but Dallas isn't here. I wouldn't want to rob him of a chance to yell about Lovecraft stuff. I was gonna joke how we need to do the Entity cards sometimes because there's exactly 6 of them, and like 2 or 3 of them are fucking busted, and the rest of them are useless.
Actually, because we talked about, we could just quickly go over Eldritch stuff. Actually,
No.
that would
no,
take-
we can't quickly go over Eldritch.
Uh,
There's a lot of those.
Quickly? No.
Yeah.
At 2.5
I
hours
mean,
in and 11:20
if you
at
just go
night.
to the
no.
monsters, Eldritch is a big golden dude. He's an asshole, and he has a fusion that's worthless.
Yeah.
Elwood's the
probably
big golden
He's
ass.
also
Has
a big golden
he has
asshole.
a smexy alt art. That's it. That's all.
We
I
will
got.
we will
Yeah,
be going over a lot of, I guess, the
He's the best dragon made.
of the
Yeah,
2 asshole RNT cards, one that's actually printed in the set we were going to get.
there are 3 elixirs, I believe, and 7 trap monsters in Eldritch. So,
Yeah.
in addition to the actual monsters, we're not going over that.
No, that's a half an episode right there. That's we go splitsies with another small one.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Speaking of the small one, I need to put that new fusion archetype on the list. That shit's good.
Which one?
It's not branded. It's the one that just came out as the Dark Aquas.
Oh, the
Actually,
Telements? Telements?
Yeah.
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 I was
I
gonna
mean,
say
probably gotta
Telements,
wait for
but
those to
I-
be actually printed because that set's not out yet. But yeah, that set's pretty cool.
Yeah, they look
Actually,
neat.
hold on. Can I just pull up that preview?
And I can smell already they're gonna be in all the high rarity slots.
I don't know.
So
about that.
100%. Have you
yeah,
have you
just because
seen their
Konami hates your
faces?
guts, unfortunately.
100%.
They're gonna take up all of the high rarity slots.
Well, no, not all the high rarity slots, because
And
Pure Elements is, I believe that's Powers of the Elements, so there's a shitload of good cards in there, some of which are nostalgia cards, so you know those are going to be upgraded to rarity for no goddamn reason.
But they're the mandated waifu archetype for the set.
they're also the mandated goes good with our new fusion archetype. These cards do go good with the Looper, the Boober of Duber, as MBT would say.
Remember,
He's the new
And there is more. There is more Albaz and
80%
branded
of
stuff
what
in there.
MBT
There's
says
a
is
new.
bad.
There's a new. Shut up. Don't you talk to my boy. He's posting all
I
of
meant,
his old.
I meant
Ace
as in
Attorneys.
like, I meant as in literally linguistically. Like he 80% of the time says it poorly.
Here we go. Tier Elements. I have found it. Let's see. What else is in this
I
set?
feel like that's not arguable.
There's Spirit of Neos. There's Splites. That's going to be an interesting one as well.
I've heard those things are cracked.
Splites might be hindered by their hard once per turnishness, but they might not be. They might just not give a fuck.
I mean, the card that's definitely going to be a secret rare is Kurikata, Avatar of the Immovable, because that's basically like reverse nib.
Yeah,
It
that
tributes
one's
monsters
Yeah.
that activate their effects.
That is my favorite new card coming out. I love that card. That
Yeah.
card's so cool.
Well, it's pretty funny with the like, tribute monsters who have activated their effect this turn. Wait, it's not a quick effect. So your opponent has to. You use it when your opponent. Special summoned from your hand by attributing all face-up monsters in the field that activated an effect in your opponent's monster zone this turn. Gains 1500 attack for each monster attributed.
It's just so good against everything, and it exactly tells Drytron to fuck off forever and die.
Yeah.
And I love that. Just a main deck card that actually does something against Drytron.
What was it? What was its normal stat line?
It's 15-15 to start, so if you tribute one,
Well,
it's 3K.
15, 4-star, 6-star.
Oh, well, it can't be normal summoned, so.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
Doesn't matter.
special.
It's a 1-star.
Yeah,
It's a 1-star.
It's a 1-star, but you can only special summon it by tributing
You
face-up
could
monsters
also-
that activate an effect.
You could also go into it and then make Link reload, which is fun.
Which is maybe a way how you get rid of it later, but
Well, you don't need to worry about getting rid of it later.
Yeah,
I-
it doesn't.
guess the
it
bit of
doesn't
it
have
is
a
that-
passive floodgate to my knowledge.
it's a thing that so it's like when it's not it's you tribute
It
I
shows
was
up and it
wondering-
is the boss monster.
right. So it's like I've always liked it as like what I took it as like so we've reached the point in the arms race where we're not making the new tier weapon, we're now making the counter weapons.
I mean, basically,
counter
this
weapons.
is a board breaker for going first negate boards. It's not you hold onto this going second, and when your opponent summons a lot of monsters, you blow them up. You're like, okay, cool. You're gonna make it a board that will negate all these effects. I will start to play my turn like normal. You'll use up all your negates. Cool. I tribute all your monsters. I have a huge beater. Die.
It allows you to run this and evenly matched and just be
It
really
makes
good
the-
at telling
it
your
makes the
opponent where to
dumb
fuck
thing
off.
of like always secretly just having a battle trap, of secretly always having
So
the
here's
magic
the
cylinder would be
thing.
funny.
Do you run it alongside Nibiru?
Possibly,
run it in
you might
different
side deck
decks.
between the two of them, depending on whether you know if you're going first or second. Nib doesn't do you any good going first, right?
I say it's a main deck option. I think you would main deck Nib and side into this card when you know you're going second.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would still main deck it just because I think at 3 or 2 or 3 it's good enough. You lose the coin flip or the rock paper scissors enough that it's just a good card.
And if you assume that your opponent's always going to want to go first,
Also,
I'm-
in the current era, a lot of hands and board states don't just wind up in a turn 2 death. Right now, just as the way the game is. So if you get to turn 3 and you bait out a couple things,
we're not
they'll
doing.
just win you the game.
We've slipped out of OTKs. Okay, I guess I thought all the pile decks were meant to assure OTKs.
Well, pile decks are good at making OTKs. Pile decks also have to play against Griffin Rider, which is a big asshole. no matter what you do these days, you have to go against exactly Griffin Rider, and he's really good at telling you to not.
Yeah.
Even if you get like a forbidden droplet or something on him, he's 2800.
What's her face? I mean, it's a
She's a fairy.
it's a level 1 fairy with 15/15, so fairly searchable.
Sorry,
Can't
it's
win for one.
unfortunately really searchable in Drytron.
Yeah, if it's fairy, it's a Drytron search.
There's lots
Right.
of other stuff. Well,
Yeah, I'm
not
sure
not
there's-
really specifically Drytron. The other stuff. Oh,
But,
hey, I didn't even realize in this card art there's that one asshole from Scareclaw in here.
Yeah,
On
the,
stream I have pulled up
Yeah,
the
because
pre-release
they
of,
cross
Ice-
over for like a couple.
So
cards.
basically, the Albaz storyline's still going, but I think they're now doing another storyline involving Scarecrow.
Yeah,
and,
Lisa
like, the
Starfrost is
here.
the current Albaz of the next stuff.
Like, I guess
Oh.
they're wrapping it up. I guess I don't think.
No,
it was-
this
Uh,
is just.
well, yeah, I think they are wrapping up the branded storyline. Iris is dead. There's a new version of Albaz who's like beat up.
I remember seeing like the new head, like the new bishop.
Yeah,
Found,
it's just Alduber.
Iris.
Yeah.
No,
No, Iris
the,
was-
I like-
yep.
I like with all these new Albazes, you still have to play the original to play Brandon Fusion.
It's like I
I
remember
think
the thing is like
what's-his-face
the
did it
rank the level 4 ritual, like the new bishop.
Oh, well, that's really old now. That's like many, many rulers ago.
No, like she's in the art of the new card where it shows Iris being taken away by.
No,
for
not taken
healing
away. Ecclesia's crying over her. She's fucking dead.
Oh, okay, so they broke the healing pod. Okay.
I mean, she's dead.
She's dead, Jim.
Actually, just adding a lot of qualifiers to this. I'm pretty
I mean,
sure
she was
everybody
put in the healing pod, so it's like I don't know.
I have no healing pods are fake. I've never seen a card that has a healing pod.
Put her in the pod.
What do you think the thing at the back right of her dying is?
Isn't there a bad guy in the back? All right, Axe is gonna make me go to Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization and find this different thing. We're stopping everything. We're gonna scroll past all the useless bullshit articles you don't care about.
Thanks, Axe.
I mean, I'm giving
Yo,
you content.
pre-order a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon fig.
I mean, the
thing
Chaz
that-
figure's the important one, obviously.
Yes, it doesn't have the
That's the
description, which always
art,
does.
that's the Power of the Elements
Thunder, not that
cards.
It's worthless.
I think it's the Running Hormones cards.
Oh yeah, we got the new Labyrinthe cards too.
Yeah, Labyrinth's gonna be fun. It's
They're
Dragon Queen's
pretty
Aura. Where the fuck was it? The next page? Because it's with Albaz.
It was before Asa, and we just passed Asa, so
It's Grand Tusk. There's Ansem for some reason.
he's out
The
here.
Braver Dragon. Okay,
was
so that's the
seven stuff.
explosion. So maybe it is in the cards that is.
Albaz out of Ashes Freester.
Yeah, but that's not the trap card that does that. That's Albaz getting blown up. So maybe it is the remaining ones. I don't know why they wouldn't do that as the headline card, though. Were those all monsters? I don't even know. Chat, tell me the name of the card so I can look it up. You know.
Excuse
You know
me.
the card.
What does it do? What is it?
Don't
No,
remember.
nobody knows what it does. They only yell about it on the internet how fucking Iris is dead.
So it's an Albaz card. It's a trap. It's a spell.
It is a
It's a
trap.
I
I think this was just all... Yeah, this is all monsters. Oh, wait, no, there is a spell. But none of them are the spell we're talking about. Though, Twin Dust Trinade is funny.
I'm doing searching. Okay.
wonder if I can just search up my OCG. Is that a thing I can do?
Unfortunately, we gotta go way back
Wow.
because I can't find tier elements because... God forbid the Yu-Gi-Oh! Organization have URLs that are rememberable and meaningful and not just nonsense all the time. I'll talk smack on them. They have a very good product. They could make it better.
Not at.
Just going through the OCG cards right now.
I don't know if it's a ritual. Listen, guys, it's not hard. Just go on the internet until you find those people bitching about Iris being dead.
Yeah, but
Oh,
I
it's
don't
the-
want to
Oh,
see
it's
those
the thing
people
no, it's not.
because He seemed pretty annoying.
Was it that far fucking back?
I mean, lots of things are that far back.
I know it wasn't-
I mean,
I know
no
it wasn't
offense
all
to Rush
easy to
Duels, but I
parse.
mean also mean all offense to the organization's coverage of Rush Duels. Those should be separate fucking news pages, please.
Yeah.
Is it
before
Dogmatica Urgy?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't know what it's called. I only know the card art, guys. I
Is
don't
it
know why
like-
you keep
was it
asking me
out-
these questions.
Was it not? I'm looking at the tracking. It's like it has to be one of these, and it's not.
I mean, I don't know if it was because I don't know if it got brought up. It was like a single reveal.
I can give you that text.
Okay, I mean, I'll check. And of course, there's no fucking picture. Probably not, because that's in Dimension Force. Also, for some reason, there's no picture of it on the wiki, so I can't even double check.
Nice.
That's weird. It's like
I'll
I
Google
remember
it.
the.
No, it's not that. That's a bunch of Despias sending onto Branded. It's this.
This kind of
Iris
like
does
check.
appear to be taken away there, but
Is this?
It's like I know this card exists. We've seen this card exist. It's like what the.
I mean, yeah, I know. I've seen people tweet about it. It's just I can't. I'm shocked. My audience. I feel super disconnected from my audience right now because I'm like, y'all don't know this thing. Fucking all the people I were following on Twitter about Yu-Gi-Oh were talking about it. Let's see. The suggestion is Brandon Central Dogmatica. Yeah, let's just have all the fucking. I don't see that card listed anywhere, so I'm gonna search it. Top 5 searches, by the way, is yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't know if I'd call that a healing pod axe. It's covered in murder spikes, and many more
mean-
murder spikes are coming towards.
Because I remember it being shown in earlier cards where she was put in a thing, but then. It got
No, that was also not a healing pod. That was that was Dogmatic Urgy, and that was an evil prison orb.
So once again, Axe is wrong.
Axe
Well,
has
you
a
don't
very
know.
weird definition of healing.
Yeah, I've pulled it up. It's an iron. It looks like an Iron Maiden. And there's lots of weird evil demons and ghost hands around. This is not a good scene.
Well, that's
Yeah.
because-
That is
Horrendous
100%
setup.
an Iron Maiden. I'm dead. I know Iron Maiden. That's an
okay,
Iron
so
Maiden.
I remember
There's
from
literally
like Ice
blood in it.
Shades, put her in a thing, and this might be different, but like I remember there was different,
Okay.
like,
Proof. Where is it?
I have to go.
There is
Then-
literally already blood inside of that thing. Like, this is not the first time that Iron Maiden has been used to put a body in.
And for comparison, let me see if I can find the good card art of that. Come on, there was you gave me a full screen later, or earlier, for Dogmatic Urgy. Google, how in like 5 minutes did I find a higher quality card art of Dogmatic Urgy? And now it's gone. What the fuck? There we go. Found it.
And
Okay.
it's gone.
I need to find cards that have.
Yeah, I'm done trying to search Brandon Dogmatic and all does whatever.
And this is Dogmatic Urgy, which is probably, I think that's Iris's color scheme, but definitely being kidnapped by a bad boy Dogmatica branded in
Yeah,
a horrible
but-
hell cube. Actually, no, that's the Stigmata
Looks like a
effect.
bomb.
yeah,
Yeah, it's a
the
Stigmata
Stigmata
hexagram.
part.
So yeah, no, I'm pretty sure we slurped up Iris into a hell curse mark, and then she died. We sucked out all her
No,
juice.
because I'm thinking about before this moment, but
Well, these moments are after this moment, so she's still dead, X.
okay. I
Yeah.
guess then.
If she dies after the thing that is the healing cube, she died.
She still died, yeah. I'm not saying she did.
Anyway, where the fuck
just
was
for-
I?
It's just the way you talked about it was like very different.
Axe, the Dogmaticas don't really give off the vibe that they're healers.
No,
isn't
it was
new
the Ice
Pope Lady-
Shades.
This is way before. That may have happened, but that's way before this.
Yeah, Ice
Yeah, it was,
Shades,
like,
I
before
think,
this
are...
happened.
Ice Jade and
Correct.
Sword Soul came out at the same time. Not that because meta-wise, those two decks did very different things.
No, I was saying like during the Ice Jade segment or the Sword Soul segment when that whole like arc was happening. she
well,
was in the
probably
pod.
because that's how she became Iris Sword Soul. But once again, doesn't matter. Future shit. I was talking about cards that aren't even released yet. So
Fair enough.
I was talking about Power of the Elements and how in Power of the Elements she's fucking dead. We've established I was right. Axe was confused. I am going to futz with my fucking windows again. Because I have to juggle all the things. There you go. So we had to
I
mention
did not make a good juggle.
tier elements because the OCG hates you. Literally, the characters used are a wombo combo of Tiara, Tier, Lament, and Element. So I can't even be mad at you organization, for this.
You put your waifu in a pond. That's what that first image looks like.
Yeah. I'm also reminded how much of a goober Scareclaw looks like. What a dork.
Yeah.
No, that's I think that's the Link monster. So it's the
Space
weird.
is Isekai speech episode. That's
No,
so...
I think it's meant to be the weird chibi one where it's like Lightheart, like Scarecrow Lightheart, which is
And
the
he
Link
still looks
monster.
like a dork.
He looks like a doofus.
What?
Saying he's the Link monster doesn't de-doofus him.
Oh, it's different than Scareclaw because I think it's a separate thing.
Now they're all Scareclaws.
Okay, then it's different than the main Scareclaw.
Axe, I
dude.
don't really want to repeat my awful joke because none of you like that, but you're making me think of it, how if anybody says anything, you will literally tell them it's not. The sky is red and I don't like it.
Are you sure? Are you...
Thank you, Mega Man.
Where is the sky red?
The tier limits cards are really beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, currently my sky is black. And I won't make any value judgments on that. I don't want that to get clipped out of context.
Anyway, let's move
We're,
on.
we're not going to start an MBT war up in here.
No. Though I
No.
can say
We're not gonna
Synchro
play
Cracker if
any
I want
decks
to. I
with
have that
Synchro
pass.
Cracker.
We're on YouTube. YouTube doesn't care. Hopefully Robin is white enough to say Synchro Cracker.
I don't know what the fuck that. I don't get why.
You know, I
that's,
thought
why
that.
is it such a weird jaded? Why is it such a weighted term? I don't get it.
Hey,
It's a white thing. You're not regulation white. You're special white. You're one of the discriminated whites. Axe is Jewish, by the way. That's why I say that.
And
If
autistic.
you
He
need-
actually
if
he
you
actually has
if you
greater,
say Synchro Cracker, then you pass. But
I have greater
He's a
discrimination
sharp
factor.
guy.
Yes, you have a greater discrimination pass than I do. I'm very Anglo. But I live in Florida, where there are a lot of whip crackers. It's weird. Let's not discuss it.
Why are
Tier
we here?
elements here. They're Dark Aquas, which is a joke we made earlier. So they have some interesting arts. I'll try and that's just gonna load. Yeah,
Dark
just
Aqua,
switches it, but you can-
unheard type.
you can look at that, and you can wait for me to go back
Oh,
in
they're all
time.
dark, so.
That's right. He
level
has
twos,
an umbrella
threes.
underwater.
I mean, it's aesthetic
Why?
Uh,
Fuck you.
let's see.
because it looks cool.
So this is an
Oh,
interesting
they're all-
effect.
Oh, they're all aqua. Okay, they're all fusions, so that's why they're all darks, of course. Okay, because dark.
Well,
yeah,
no,
that
they're
makes
not all fusions, but they are a fusion
No.
archetype.
Or they're fusion interact.
They're in
Um,
fact a fusion mill archetype.
Yes, you.
That's a different kind of
normal or
playstyle.
special. Send top 3 from your deck. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can fusion summon, which I
like
believe
Shaddoll.
would trigger off the mill effect. No, actually, I think what this reminds me of is Sylvan, actually, but fusion as opposed to Xyz.
Yeah,
They have a
because
lot
it's
of
like
self-milling
if
effects
you
and then
can
they
mill
proc.
3 of your basically tier element cards and then trigger it and then just send them back
Yeah.
to your deck.
They are much better than Sylvans because they always mill, as opposed to excavating and sometimes milling and sometimes not. It's
Sylvans are excavating these.
And I will say, some of these have some decent effects, like Halfenis, being special when your opponent activates a monster effect. Has a quick effect you can chain and special and then send. Possibly do some chain blocking and other stuff.
I like that
Yeah.
you can just always send back the cards you milled back to your deck.
Well, if they're monsters and you send them.
yeah.
But you do get to return the fusion materials from hand, field, or graveyard to the bottom of the deck in any order, too, including the cards sent, so you can do some stuff. The big payoff is probably these guys, the actual fusions. Here's one.
And Rhino Heart. is probably the best normal in the deck. I mean, you obviously want to normal all of them, but you know.
Well, some of them have special
Oh.
clauses.
Interesting. You can take one from your deck and add it to your hand,
Ooh,
or
she's
send
a
it
big
to
scary
grave.
lady.
So that's so you can trigger it or fusion or have whatever card deck chain. That's actually really good.
Reno. Oh, interesting. So Kaleido Heart is Reno Heart specifically plus Aqua monsters. Interesting.
Yeah.
Semi-generic.
Which means you could put Reno Heart in the grave, or if she gets
Yeah.
popped, you can then fuse with her. Which
Uh,
means
Kaleido Heart also has a very important first line of text where she cannot be used as fusion material.
she is your end board.
And you can only use its effects each once per turn. So
And it
this
also
card
has
is special
a,
summoned, or if another Aqua monster is sent to your graveyard by card effect.
So
shuffle.
you can then keep activating from there, and you just have a bunch of.
And then if this card is
Sends.
sent to the graveyard, special summon it. If you do send one tier elements card from your deck to your graveyard. So you cannot fusion climb with it, but it does basically recycle itself for free so long as it gets
It's-
sent to the graveyard by a card
I
effect.
feel it's comparable to like Titan and Thunder Dragons, where it basically makes all of your card effects do pops, or I guess in this case sends or bounces.
Shuffle them back, yeah, spin them back.
Yeah. Speed, the best type of remove.
And also, like I
Not
said,
a-
it's got an infinite recursion effect technically. So long as it is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can special it back, and it's a 3k, so
Yeah.
pretty good.
This,
So as long as it doesn't get banned.
that effect, by the way, is why it can't be fused.
Yes,
Because if you could refuse into something else, and it'd be too much.
free advantage.
So basically, you have to bounce it or banish it. So.
And then they got a field spell. Okay, so Visa Starfrost, I guess, is our new protagonist boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I guess it's like-
Frost.
I guess Starfrost interacts with
You can
I guess
only
encounters a Scareclaws, has one go with him, and then just goes in a different area.
You can activate one card with the same per turn. You can use the third effect once per turn. You can add tier elements or Visa Starfrost, fusion elements, fusion monsters, and tier elements you control gain 500 attack. If a tier element's monster is returned from your field and/or graveyard to the deck or extra deck, you can target one card on the field, destroy it. Intriguing. And then you've got Meta Noise, Salic. Graveyard, you can add a tier element from your deck to your hands. Okay, so their own spell traps have milling effect. That's pretty good.
Yeah. They're really good. You can
I
put
like
them,
how they don't know
Buckland
which the
and Zero.
translation of this is. It's either tier elements crime or tier elements climb.
Probably both.
Cashew, Oz, and Elves.
Also, it's a good negate that like
It could be crime or climb. I
stacks
don't know.
with like Starfrost, which is like interesting.
Yeah, Starfrost has an unfortunate thing where he's fucking garbage. He's a bad
What's he do
card.
again? Yeah. Is he not like
Uh,
Albaz where he's actually decent?
No, he's bad. If he's in your hand, you can target one monster you control with a different type and attribute than him, destroy that, and then special summon him.
I mean,
That's the
certain
Yeah,
hard
cards-
one
he's
to
a
trigger.
level 6 light warrior tuna, and then he has that effect, which is, you can.
That is a hard once per turn, by the way. You can't do that multiple times per turn. That'd be too good. And then
Level
his
6
other
tuna.
thing is a battle.
Yeah,
It's a
when he
battle.
battles an opponent's monster, destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you can make him gain attack equal to the original half attack or defense of that monster, whichever is higher. Your choice if tied.
What I'm getting is that it's a thing of, I think, like Albaz, eventually they'll make something where he actually has utilities. But even then-
Probably, but for now, I don't think he goes
There's a
anywhere.
lot of
He's
cards
also
that give him negate, they give him
tuner.
protection.
What
though, is the
set
thing.
is he in?
It's in the one that Scareclaws are in, I think.
Yeah, but
Is
he
it
also
Dimensional
doesn't.
fusion.
Scareclaws are a link
Yeah, I
card
mean, I
type,
will
so-
say, I didn't realize this guy was a plot card until I read the tier elements effect again, because he's such a, in normal circumstances, he's such a nothing pack filler. He's just a weird space samurai guy.
Okay, this piece of Star Price reminds me of Hosea from Dot Pack.
I mean, he is definitely a generic anime protagonist, man.
He's not like Albaz where he's actually at least.
This art, that's.
Oh, I mean,
one army
Albaz-
set did that.
People weren't using Albaz because he didn't, without the fusion monsters to support him, he didn't have a lot of flair, but Albaz is a fucking super poly on legs.
Yeah.
Honestly, the thing about
Albaz-
it is like I think for Starfrost they just need to make him. They just need to make some really fucking broken synchros that need him. So
No, don't do that. Don't make them need him.
I mean, tuner.
I mean, it's fine if they
If he
make
wasn't
him
a tuner,
medium,
maybe
but
some rank sixes.
his current claim to fame is he's got a bad link monster. He's got some bad traps and spells that can add him for no reason.
He's a weird. He reminds me of like Xenoblade, where he's like a space Ronin, but with like a fucking galaxy arm.
Yes,
It's
so he is
like
in
if
Dimensional
Visa
Force, which is our
Starfrost
next
was
set.
was a Zephyr card, but no archetype wanted to ever play Zephyr, including
decided
Zephyr,
to take
because he didn't
the
have an
main-
archetype.
They decided to take the main character from Princess Mononoke and make him a space samurai.
It is interesting. The Scareclaw field spell also searches him. I don't know what
Again,
to
it's
bother.
like
I do think they are right because the names of the field spells sound like planets. I think this is supposed to be kind of like a sci-fi archetype thing.
Yeah,
It's
he's
Rayphobia,
visiting-
the
he's
wanton
visiting
and
new
willful
places.
world of desire, and then the tier elements one is which one? I just had it.
Yeah, but it does. It does to me sound
Paraliona,
like there's.
the Primal Parallel Ruined Realm.
Yeah.
So is it like a thing where he's basically like a Yu-Gi-Oh planeswalker and he's just visiting different worlds?
I mean, I don't know
I
if he's
think
like.
he's just a spaceman.
It's like-
Judging by
yeah.
all the space around him, I think he's just sci-fi. That would make sense because the Scareclaws are kind of robotic.
And I guess he just gets a character to come with him every time. So
We'll see. We'll see. Well, I mean, we'll need to see the next set. Do we know the name of the next Yu-Gi-Oh set? I mean, they just announced the next deck build pack, which we don't know anything about, but it does have defenders in it. So everybody's like, retrain Get Guardian, which I agree with.
I mean, I'd like to see what the retrain
It's
area would be like.
time for Gate Guardian to get their archetype, so they're no longer the worst cards in Yu-Gi-Oh.
Honestly, the
There
dumbest thing
could
is I
be-
want to see. I want to see like their version of like how like the monarchs got the heralds or the vassals.
Yeah.
They got the vassals. I want to see the vassal versions of like the Gate Guardian card pieces.
Just make Gate Guardian be APC drain, be able to split up or.
Well, I already talked about this. They already have the out in the way the original monster was referred to. He was because there's it's
It's a fusion
Sujin
card,
Sangha.
but not really.
Well, it is, but like the retrain version already they have the stuff for it because the way that their names used to be in Japanese were they have the Mashin name. So Suijin was Suimashin Suga, demonic water deity Suga. Obviously, you can't literally translate that. So Gate Guardian is Raimashin, I think. Or yeah, it was referred to as Raimashin, but its actual name in the OCG is still Gato Guardian. But they have the subtitle, so they can just make it combination demonic deity combination Gate Guardian, so you can just do that and then figure that out.
All I want is for them to honor out my boy Goyo Guardian. He didn't deserve it.
Yeah. Also print Dark Guardian because
Yeah.
that card existed.
Yeah, GXN.
Come Guardian. Wait.
Then we can put Ansem on there. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, guys, we do actually know what the next OCG set will be called after Power of the Elements. Would you like to hear its name?
Breaker of the Guardians.
Hopefully it's Scribbly Bimbus or something like that.
No. Though,
Wow, this
honestly,
was-
you could be you could be worse, Robin. The next OCG set after Power of the Elements is Darkwing Blast.
That sounds
Uh,
boring. That sounds kind of dumb.
That sounds like more
It-
Let's
Blackwings.
As I
get
recall,
dangerous.
Can we get Raid Raptors and not Blackwings?
No, they're adding more danger
Do we
cards.
really need more Red Raptors?
Or they
No,
just
it was a
combine
Darkwing.
Red
It was a
Raptors.
Darkwing Duck reference. Loft.
Wow.
I don't
I-
want more Blackwings because everything they do for balancing Blackwings is just around Black Whirlwind, which
Or they just
I-
combine Black Wings with
Also-
Raid Raptors
also,
for-
There's enough
Full Armor
Black
Master's
Wings.
also kind of fucky.
There's enough Blackwings. There's so many of them. If we ever do Blackwing
I-
Fail Portrayal, we're gonna be here for so long.
Yeah, we'll
There's
have
like
to do it in
80.
we'll have to do it in waves. I think of just being main deck Blackwings and then actual.
let's just go
Blackwings.
over Pollute and call it a day.
Nah, no, we gotta reach Full Armor. We gotta reach Full Armor Master so Omega can mold.
Yeah,
I mean,
70
everybody, nobody likes Full Armor Master. He's one.
I
of
mean,
those
I
cards
do,
that
except when I'm
says-
playing against it.
Even just going over the monsters.
So you like it when you're playing it.
If you like something except when you come against it, that means you don't like it.
I
So
mean,
that's
So
how it
Max
works.
likes
yeah,
towers.
but
he
what if no one
likes
ever,
Red
what if
Eyes
no one
Dark
ever plays
Dragoon.
Black Wings? So.
I mean, we already knew this
Axe
about
doesn't
Axe.
like
He plays
assholes.
Colossus.
He likes being the asshole.
Like I love
Sometimes.
Skill Drain until I come against Skill Drain, and then
Just
I
own
don't
it.
know
I
about Skill
don't
Drain.
like Skill Tree, period, because I don't play decks that benefit from it.
Yeah. Also, making Herald of Ultimateness is really cool until my opponent does it with 7
I
mats.
mean,
Then
it
it's not as
depends,
cool.
it depends if you actually are playing the deck that can have
By
cards in
the
hand.
way,
I only
Tactical
dream
Masters
try.
is going to be funny because that's Labyrinth and then also
Right.
the other shit.
Or
Oh, the wiki's not updated. They
Openness
announced it.
with,
It's I think it's Ancient Defenders is the next deck build pack. So
Yeah. but
anyway,
that-
interesting stuff happened with Yu-Gi-Oh. My music ran out. MBT is posting his Phoenix Wright videos. So
I've been keeping up on those. They
well, he's
make
posting
for
all of his back
wonderful-
ones. They have recovered
Yeah.
AA1 and AA3. AA2 is still being worked on, but
Ah,
he started to postify them.
And I
Okay.
assure
Oh,
you,
has
it's
he actually
quite
started
big.
posting them?
Yes, when I'm looking at where I've got Master Duel looping, I have here. Let me copy and paste
Ah.
to Prague.
Well,
Oh yeah, the
Goodbye,
early
everybody.
today. He started on the first
Yeah.
game again.
Oh yeah.
I'm not just gonna leave you guys like that.
I mean,
Yeah.
Well, I'm
can,
about to
it's
leave to go do this.
Widowbus.
Though I
I
may or may
definitely
not
will
want to talk
watch
to some
that.
people about trades because guess what, guys? We opened Maximum Crisis this week. If you don't
Oh,
know
yeah,
what's
I-
in that set, go read.
Oh yeah,
No,
Omega.
I didn't know.
Spoilers. Masterpiece.
I was
It's
gonna
got
say
my.
more
Oh
black.
really?
Wings.
I don't care about that guy. It's
No.
got my boy.
Yeah, Zark. Well, and I have your boy, and I also have a Masterpiece, so I don't need to. You don't need to worry about that. We can talk
I
about
was
other
gonna
stuff.
say, I'm pretty sure someone was counting earlier. There's like
Oh, but
enough Zarks
That's
in
exactly
the
what I need
format.
to worry about.
There's a lot of Zarks. There's also several Masterpieces.
There's also several VFDs.
Oh well, yes. VFD was only a super. That was inevitable.
Yeah.
We don't have to
Well,
worry about
VFD is
VFD.
not
We
gonna
literally
come
don't have to worry
until
about VFD
VW.
until Virtual World comes out because I don't think anybody's actually going to be able to kit bash a level 9 spam deck enough that he's actually a
Like,
problem.
Actually,
I have
technically,
the
I
ability
can.
to make 2 level 9s in one turn. It takes my entire hand, and that's it for my deck.
Yeah,
Omega,
I don't know if that's dangerous enough. I mean, if it is, we'll ban him because he's an asshole. But also VFD, it's already a problem. VFD gets reprinted in a deck build pack as a common, basically. in Mystic Fight.
For our format, VFD loses to Mare Force, so I'm not going to commit everything I have into that guy.
It's true.
Also,
Battle
I was
traps.
gonna say also he's some form of limitation, which means we only have to deal with him once.
Unless
Theoretically,
already building a test game.
Un-
Yeah, we
until
don't
you-
have multiple VFDs, so you can play through one, which may or may not matter for us. Loth's
Until
playing
part
Zark,
of
by
that.
the way, filthy casual. Loth is playing Zark. Loth has
Yeah.
been doing Dimension Dragons since Arc 5 started. So
Oh yeah, that reminds me. I have to go.
I love
I have
Zahak.
cards to go trade people.
And then the
there's
week
many cards to be
afterwards,
traded. I have
when we
cards
get
to ask about actually.
Pendulum
But
Magician.
Yeah.
I would
Good
like to
Lord.
wrap up the stream so we can go do
Sorry.
that. I was building to that for a while.
That's fun.
Though Loth, you get support from the audience. Now we've crossed the 3-hour mark because we yelled about stupid new cards for a while. Thank you so much for tuning into Fail Portrayal. I'm sorry we couldn't get to UA tonight, but like I said, Dallas and Vesper were both out. Hopefully one of them will exist next week so we can do UA. Otherwise, we've got progression coming up. Please go watch last week's episode. I know that the title, Normal Summon Alistair, might not intrigue you, but you should go watch it anyway, because despite Alistair getting Normal Summon like 8 times, that's not really what the winning decks were about. There's a lot of
Yeah.
really crazy matchups and really weird decks. You should seriously watch it. There's a reason why it's like 3.5 hours.
To be fair,
yes, I will say I watched it. I've watched it completely through a couple times now. It was a good week.
I appreciate
You
Mark's
watched it multiple
comments.
times.
Okay.
My deck was the most interesting that week.
Robin, what
I
were you
just-
saying before we exit out of here?
I was gonna say, to be fair, the prospect of normal summoning Alistair was so boring. I slept through the episode.
It's true.
I was
facts.
Yeah.
gonna go for it, and I couldn't. I just couldn't make it.
Yeah, so
You
we
just, like-
Okay.
So
But
Alistair's-
like, comment, and subscribe, everybody. We're going now. Goodbye.
Bye.
Have a lovely
Bye.
day.